Chapter 1925. Bang! A loud sound rang out, accompanied by a miserable shriek. Xiaochen opened his eyes at the top of the heaven dragon. It sounded like someone had fallen off the cliff. The voice sounded somewhat familiar. It was Yi Qianyun's. Xiaochen's night of cultivation was interrupted. As he looked at the rising sun, he spat out a mouthful of turbid air. He stood on the top of the heaven dragon and looked around. His heart moved, encompassing everything. Boom, boom, boom. With a thought, Xiaochen started practicing the Supreme Dragon Fist, testing out his comprehensions from the night before. Below, Li Luo and the others gathered together. When they looked down the cliff, they could no longer see Yi Qianyun's figure. Will he die? Qin Yan asked with some fear as he looked at the bottomless cliff. Li Luo shook her head and said, "No. He is a holy venerate, after all. Although this deep abyss is somewhat strange, it will not kill a heaven-class core disciple. However, he is severely injured. It is hard to avoid being bedridden for a month or two." The moment Li Luo said that, Zhang Yi and the others could not help feeling happy. After all, they were still heaven-class core disciples. Sooner or later, they would have to fight over them. The competition was still there. Yi Qianyun's rash actions were equivalent to ruining his qualifications to become a heaven-class core disciple. Thinking about it, it was extremely laughable. This also inspired fear in the others, not daring to give it a try. Li Luo withdrew her gaze and said gravely, "This heaven dragon's might grows stronger the stronger it is. Even if you want to give it a try, you cannot be so rash. However, I can't be so reckless. I have to leave myself some room to maneuver." Just at this moment, wind howled at the top of the heaven dragon. Dragon roars rang out everywhere, and the clouds moved. The group stopped talking and looked up. When they saw Xiaochen practicing his fist technique on the top of the heaven dragon, they revealed complicated expressions. How can he do it? Xiao Jinyu showed an expression of dissatisfaction. Looking up at Xiaochen made him feel sullen and depressed. Envy flashed in Zhu Yun's eyes as he said, he comprehended a trace of the heaven dragon's mysteries. He can already infuse his aura into the heaven dragon's might. This is the best way to climb to the top of the heaven dragon. If the three of us force our way, we have at least a 50% chance of reaching it. However, we want to comprehend the heaven dragon's mysteries and soar, not endure the dragon's might. Xiaochen's talent simply astonished the three of them. Back then, when he barged into the Heavenly Dragon Palace's main peak, the three of them were shocked. The first time Xiaochen came to this profound dragon platform, he managed to comprehend the Heavenly Dragon's mysteries just by observing for a while. On the other hand, they had been cultivating on the profound dragon platform for more than a year. Although their cultivation had improved rapidly, they were not as strong as before. However, the Heavenly Dragon's mysteries still felt unfathomable. Under the Xiaochen the dragon. Chen Yang Chen Yu out, and his looked and Yu and dragon his Chen has appeared. And looked. Yin. Heaven. I still can't do it. Xiaochen shook his head. He felt that after the dragon, his practice of the Supreme Dragon Fist seemed to have gone awry. If he continued, he might end up entering berserking chi deviation. Indeed, the Supreme Dragon Fist cannot be easily modified. Collecting his thoughts, Xiaochen soared into the air, and turned into a flash of lightning, merging into the clouds. In an instant, he landed in Cold Moon Cave, and started cultivating in a meditation room. Since Xiaochen wanted to comprehend the Supreme Dragon Fist, his cultivation could not fall behind. Time passed peacefully. During the day, Xiaochen cultivated in his residence, stabilizing and raising his cultivation. At night, he meditated at the top of the heaven dragon. When the morning sun rose, he would practice what he comprehended at night. Clouds gathered and scattered. The sun rose and set. In the blink of an eye, 1 month had passed. I did it. On the top of the heaven dragon, Xiaochen revealed a smile. After 30 days, he finally succeeded in refining the Supreme Dragon Fist. He had replaced the resentment in the fist with killing chi. Although it was also a negative emotion, as long as he vented his killing chi and controlled it well, there would not be any negative effects. As for resentment, it would accumulate over time. Sooner or later, it would distort one's mind. Replacing it with killing Qi was more suitable for Xiaochen than the Heaven Dragon. Actually, Xiaochen did not have that much resentment. Forcibly using resentment to bring out the might of the fist technique would be putting the cart before the horse. After 1 month of consuming a large number of primeval heavenly pills, Xiaochen's cultivation steadily increased, reaching peak late-stage primeval heavenly pills. However, Xiaochen was still some distance from the bottleneck. He would not be able to break through to Holy Venerate within a short time. However, Xiaochen did not want to break through to Holy Venerate for now. Holy Venerate was a whole new realm. Xiaochen, who had suffered at the hands of Holy Venerate wills many times, was exceptionally cautious about this realm. Xiaochen junior brother. Just as Xiaochen was about to leave, Xiaochen heard someone calling him from below. With a thought he descended. It was Li Luo, looking at him with a smile. Congratulations, junior brother Xiaochen, on successfully modifying the Supreme Dragon Fist. The people below had been observing for the past month. Naturally, they knew what Xiaochen had been doing. Many thanks. Li Luo hesitated for a while before asking. Junior brother, can you tell us about your comprehensions of the Heaven Dragon's mysteries? Sure. Xiaochen's simple and straightforward answer startled Li Luo and the others. Unexpectedly, Xiaochen agreed to it so readily. They had been conflicted for a long time over whether to ask Xiaochen, or what to do if he rejected them. It was not that there were no elders who could tell them about the Heaven Dragon's mysteries. However, the elders' cultivations were much higher than theirs. There were many things that were hard to understand and hard to understand. If it were someone of the same generation explaining it to them, it would be easier for them to understand. Many thanks, junior brother Xiaochen. The others quickly expressed their thanks, and invited Xiaochen to a stone pillar on the profound dragon platform. Then the others spread out and formed a circle. Xiaochen did not overthink. He answered honestly. I can only speak of my own understanding. Everyone's situation is different. I cannot guarantee that it will be of any help to everyone. Junior brother Xiaochen, there is no need to stand on ceremony. Your accomplishments speak for themselves. If you are willing to share it, we will definitely gain something. It is just a matter of how much. The Heaven Class Core disciple, Zhu Yun, smiled and gestured for Xiaochen to begin. After thinking for a while, Xiaochen said, in my understanding, the Heaven Dragon's mysteries are not about merging with the heavens, regarding the heavens as venerate, and regarding the heavens as master. It is still regarding the dragon as master and venerate. Simply put, it is regarding ourselves as venerate. One must have a boldness greater than the heavens. No matter how vast the heavens are, one's heart must be even larger. The vastness of one's heart is greater than the heavens and greater than the earth. To comprehend the Heaven Dragon's mysteries, one first has to have great boldness. Then one has to comprehend the state within the Heaven Dragon. Li Luo asked, what is the state within the Heaven Dragon? Xiaochen explained, in my understanding, the state within the Heaven Dragon is an ethereal quality. It might be different from the tyranny, kingship, or heavenly might that everyone imagines. This, Li Luo and the others frowned slightly, confusion appearing on their faces. When they looked up at the Heaven Dragon head hidden in the clouds, the first feeling they got was a heavenly might that shook their souls. Next was an unparalleled tyranny and an arrogance that reigned supreme. Why did Xiaochen only see the word ethereal? He simply could not understand. Xiaochen, you aren't lying to us, right? Xiao Jinyu frowned slightly as he looked at Xiaochen with some suspicion. I've asked many elders, but no one has ever said that the Heaven Dragon's mysteries contain an ethereal state. Could it be that you have a deeper understanding than those elders? Perhaps. Xiaochen answered honestly, not denying it. In Xiaochen's opinion, the Heaven Dragon was boundlessly ethereal, proud but unruly. No matter how tyrannical it appeared, it always had an unrestrained carefreeness within. Even the sky could not restrain the Heaven Dragon's wings, and the earth could not restrain the Heaven Dragon's footsteps. The vastness of one's heart was unfettered by the world. How arrogant! When Xiao Jinyu saw Xiaochen being so immodest, he turned his head and left, showing no intention of continuing to listen. Xiaochen did not mind, ignoring Xiao Jinyu. If you want to leave, it's up to you. I'm not asking you to listen. Xiaochen continued to explain his views. In the end, the more he spoke, the more contradictions there were. Feng Tianyi, Qin Yan, and the others left. Even the 3 heaven-class core disciples frowned heavily. Earlier, the senior brothers and junior brothers who comprehended the Heaven Dragon's mysteries were completely at odds with Xiaochen's. Soon, only Li Luo remained in the entire Profound Dragon platform. The others could no longer bear to listen. They could not be bothered to rebut Xiaochen, not wanting to get into a conflict with him. They snorted coldly in their hearts and left. Soon, even Li Luo could no longer bear to listen. The more Xiaochen spoke, the more he deviated. She felt like she would break down soon. If she continued listening, her understanding of the Heaven Dragon might waver. Sorry, junior brother Xiaochen. I have to leave as well. Li Luo said somewhat awkwardly as she stood up. Then she looked at Xiaochen with some guilt. It's fine. Everyone left. However, no one discovered that Xiaochen's aura was increasingly compatible with the place where the Heaven Dragon hung its head, nearly becoming one with it. Chapter 1926. No one can understand. As Xiaochen looked at the empty Profound Dragon platform, he appeared somewhat disappointed. However, he was willing to share his insights with others. No matter what, he would feel something was not right in such a situation. Even the sect elders could not make out the inner state of the Heaven Dragon. Why was that? Xiao Jinyu might be lying, purposely opposing Xiaochen. However, Li Luo did not seem like that kind of person. Xiaochen's point of view and intuition conflicted intensely with their feelings. Otherwise, Li Luo would not have left. There had to be a reason behind this. Xiaochen stood up and looked at the Heaven Dragon statue, at the Heaven Dragon head hidden in the clouds. The indistinct heavenly might and dragon might merged, appearing tyrannical and arrogant. No one dared to look at it directly. However, Xiaochen found it amiable. Aside from that, there was also an ethereal, free, and carefree air that was exceptionally clear. Strange, this piqued Xiaochen's interest. After thinking about it, he suddenly thought of something. The Blue Dragon bloodline. That's right. It must be because my bloodline is special, much stronger than mixed blood dragons, true dragons, and even other divine dragon bloodlines. That's why I can make out the inner state of this Heaven Dragon statue with one glance. Otherwise, it would be impossible for those elders not to see it. After thinking about it, Xiaochen felt that this was the only possibility. It was very likely. Aside from that, it might have something to do with Xiaochen's experiences. Xiaochen did not have the experience of being a mixed blood dragon. It was like looking at this Heaven Dragon statue from a bystander's point of view. It was hard to avoid seeing some other mysteries. Whoosh! Just at this moment, a treasure light suddenly flared behind him. Xiaochen turned his head back and saw the Heaven Dragon statue, where the clouds lingered. The Heaven Dragon's mouth gave off a 7-colored treasure light. After a while, the thing in the dragon's mouth flowed down the waterfall. It was resplendent and indistinct. What is it? Xiaochen stepped forward and arrived before the waterfall. Then he reached into the water and took it out. The light scattered, revealing a fruit giving off a mellow fragrance. At first glance, the fruit looked like a small dragon crouching there. Strange. Shaking his head, Xiaochen put the fruit away and left. At the same time, below the Profound Dragon platform, Xiao Jinyu and the others gathered together, expressing their views on the Heaven Dragon's mysteries. Xiaochen's understanding is complete nonsense. It doesn't make sense at all. To think that he thinks that he can see more clearly than the elders. How arrogant and ignorant. Xiao Jinyu said in an intense tone, feeling upset. When Xiao Jinyu thought of Xiaochen's nonchalant reply, perhaps, Xiao Jinyu felt depressed. Did he really think that he was invincible just because he stood at the peak of the Heaven Dragon? He was just lucky and went up ahead of time. From the bottom of his heart, Xiao Jinyu refused to admit that he was inferior to Xiaochen. He did not believe that he could not compare to a mixed blood dragon. Qin Yan frowned and said, although he indeed comprehended the Heaven Dragon's profound meaning, I feel that it's completely brushing us off. He did not tell us the true profoundness within. Senior brother Zhang Yi, you are very knowledgeable. What do you think? Zhang Yi shook his head and said, It's hard to say. It is too inconceivable, completely at odds with what I comprehended. If I continue listening, I'm afraid that something might go wrong when I cultivate in the future. Zhu Yin and Xian maintained their poise but did not say anything. However, based on the two's expressions, they clearly agreed with what Zhang Yi and Zhang Yi said. Otherwise, they would have retorted. Senior sister Li Luo came down as well. Feng Tianyi said when he saw a graceful figure walking over from above. Indeed, even senior sister Li Luo can't stand it anymore. Like I said, he is just brushing us off, Xiao Jinyu said with emphasis, sounding even more certain. Li Luo frowned slightly. When she noticed that the expressions of the others were off, she said sullenly, Junior brother Xiaochen already said at the start that this is his own personal comprehension. He cannot guarantee whether he can gain anything. Don't speak ill of him behind his back. Haha. I am not saying that he is not good. He is just trying to mislead us, not wanting us to catch up to him. Xiao Jinyu smiled coldly. His opinion of Xiao Chen was rather heavy. Just at this moment, the profound dragon platform suddenly gave off a bright light. The group looked up and saw a clump of seven-colored light flowing down the waterfall from the mouth of the heaven dragon statue. Qin Yin immediately felt shocked. He asked doubtfully, "What is that?" "A heaven dragon fruit." Zhu Yun's expression suddenly changed drastically. He exclaimed somewhat excitedly, "It is definitely a heaven dragon fruit. It is exactly as described in the sect's ancient records. A mutated fruit with a dragon's mouth giving off seven-colored light and flowing down the waterfall." Li Luo's expression also changed slightly. She muttered, "Junior brother Xiaochen did not lie to us. His understanding might really be correct." "Senior brother Zhang, what is a heaven dragon fruit?" Qin Yin asked as he looked at Zhang Yi. The veteran core disciple, Zhang Yi, replied softly, when comprehending the Tao in the profound dragon platform, "If one can obtain the recognition of the heaven dragon statue, there is a certain chance that it will spit out a mutated fruit. That is the heaven dragon fruit. This heaven dragon fruit can not only increase one's cultivation, cleanse the physical body and refine soul energy, but it can also strengthen the mysteries of the heaven dragon. I have only heard of some legends. Unexpectedly, there really is a mutated item like the heaven dragon fruit." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Zhu Yun and Xian did not say anything. They directly rushed towards the profound dragon platform, not caring about anything else. They just wanted to ask Xiaochen for a leaf. If they could obtain a leaf from the mutated fruit, it would be a stroke of good fortune. The two had already rushed over very quickly. However, they could only fly quickly. They could no longer catch up to Xiaochen. Even if they could catch up, they would be too embarrassed to do so. Soon Xiao Jinyu and the others rushed over. When they did not see Xiaochen, they all felt regret. When the Heaven Dragon Palace was first established, the Heaven Dragon fruit often appeared. However, in the past 10,000 years, the Heaven Dragon fruit has only appeared 3 times in total. Every time, the person who obtained the Heaven Dragon fruit became an outstanding talent that could shake up the entire Great Thousand Realms, Li Luo muttered to herself. Then she added indifferently, "Like I said, even if I cannot understand junior brother Xiaochen's words, I cannot slander him behind his back." Even the spiritual symbol of the Heaven Dragon Palace acknowledged his Tao. Clearly he is not wrong. Xiao Jinyu showed an embarrassed expression. He knew that Li Luo was referring to him. This slap to the face felt somewhat painful. Even though Xiaochen was no longer here, he still felt a searing pain. The mutated fruit should have 3 leaves. After junior brother Xiaochen consumed the Heaven Dragon fruit, his need for leaves is negligible. He might be able to get one. Zhu Yin and Xian's thoughts were more practical. They muttered to themselves. After thinking for a while, the temptation of the Heaven Dragon fruit's leaves overcame the awkwardness. They decided to thicken their skin and ask for one. In the clouds above Cold Moon Cave, Xiaochen, who had turned into a bolt of lightning, sensed that someone was visiting his residence. When he appeared in the clouds and looked over, he revealed a surprised expression. The visitors were actually Wei Hongfei, Situ Changfeng, and Morong Yin. Xiaochen quickly landed and rushed to the front to welcome them. "Brother Xiaochen, it has been a long time. Murong Yan's loud voice had just landed when Xiaochen heard it from far away. Xiaochen's figure flashed, and he met the group halfway up the mountain. Situ Changfeng smiled faintly and said, "You came really quickly. Brother Zhao's strength is becoming increasingly horrifying. You can even sense our auras from so far away." "That was not the case," Xiaochen replied softly. "It's just a coincidence. Everyone, come with me. Let's go to the residence and have a seat first." After entering the residence, Murong Yan looked at Xiaochen, who personally brewed tea and poured water. His lips twitched as he said, "I say, Xiaochen, your residence is really empty and desolate. Why didn't you find some servants or maids?" Xiaochen could hire servants to manage his residence. However, Xiaochen preferred peace and quiet, so he did not apply for one from the sect. After exchanging conventional greetings, Wei Hongfei said, "Xiaochen, you still exceeded my expectations. Although I felt that it would not be difficult for you to become a heaven-class core disciple, I really did not expect you to practice the Supreme Dragon Fist." "I was just lucky." At the mention of the Supreme Dragon Fist, Murong Yan also became interested. Come. Let's spar. I heard that this fist technique is rather ferocious. Coincidentally, I recently practiced a fist technique of our Red Dragon Palace's forbidden technique." Naturally, Xiaochen would not fight with Murong Yan for no reason. Ignoring Murong Yan, he looked at Situ Changfeng and asked, "Why are the three of you here?" Situ Changfeng looked at Wei Hongfei and said, "Brother Wei, please speak." Wei Hongfei nodded and said, "There is still half a year before the competition between the 7 outer palaces. I want to use this half a year to make a trip to Desolate God Valley, so I went to look for Murong Yan and Situ Changfeng, and then you." Xiaochen had heard of Desolate God Valley before. It was a forbidden land at the intersection of several empires. It was incredibly dangerous but also filled with fortuitous encounters. Xiaochen nodded and said, "I'm fine with it. I've been in closed-door cultivation for a long time already. Coincidentally, I want to move around." Situ Changfeng smiled and said, "I just knew that Brother Xiao would agree. We cannot remain in this Heaven Dragon Palace for long. 3 days from now, we will meet in Heaven Dragon City. We will discuss this in detail, so that you can make your preparations." "Wait a moment." Xiaochen thought of something and took out the mutated fruit he obtained at the Profound Dragon platform. Then he handed it to Situ Changfeng and asked, "Brother Situ, what is this?" "This." When Situ Changfeng saw it, he felt slightly stunned. Then he exclaimed in shock, "Where did you get this?" Xiaochen honestly explained what he experienced. Situ Changfeng exchanged looks with Wei Hongfei. Then he said with a grave expression, "Quickly put it away. This is a Heaven Dragon fruit. The Heaven Dragon statue on your main peak has an extremely ancient origin. For the sake of this Heaven Dragon fruit, it even incited some fights between the outer palaces. It is best to consume it early to prevent more problems from cropping up." "They have such great origins?" Xiaochen was rather shocked. To think that 2 people with divine dragon bloodlines revealed such grave expressions. It looked like the value of this item surpassed Xiaochen's expectations. Wei Hongfei said, "It is not just this fruit. These 3 heaven dragon leaves are worth cities as well, and are extremely rare. You should keep them well. In the future, you can use them to exchange for the resources you need." Xiaochen asked, "Can the effects stack with the fruit?" "That is not possible. After consuming the Heaven Dragon fruit, consuming the Heaven Dragon leaves will have almost no effect." When Xiaochen heard that, he understood. He said straightforwardly, "In that case, I'll give these 3 Heaven Dragon leaves to the few of you. I already have the Heaven Dragon fruit." It would be impolite of me to refuse." While Wei Hongfei and Situ Changfeng were still being polite, Murong Yan casually put away the fruits. Murong Yan casually put it away. The 2 thanked him and solemnly put it away as well. A thought occurred to Xiaochen. He looked outside and said, "Someone else is here." Chapter 1927. Someone else came. Upon hearing that, Situ Changfeng smiled and said, "Brother Xiao, it looks like you are rather popular in the Heaven Dragon Palace." "Rather popular?" Xiaochen did not say much. However, he thought about the somewhat disappointed scene at the profound dragon platform earlier. He did not know who had come. With a thought, Xiaochen took out his identity token and formed a hand seal with both hands. The layers of formations outside the residence opened. Soon Zhu Yin and Xian rushed over to where Xiaochen was. "Senior brothers, what brings you here?" Xiaochen asked softly as he looked at the two, feeling it strange. Zhu Yin hesitated for a while before asking probingly, "Junior brother, did you obtain a heaven dragon fruit?" "That's right. When I spoke to the various junior brothers, I seem to have obtained the acknowledgement of the heaven dragon statue. A fruit fell from it." "It is indeed a heaven dragon fruit," Xiaochen answered honestly, not deliberately hiding anything. "Indeed, it is a heaven dragon fruit." Zhu Yin and Xian rejoiced. Xian said, "Junior brother, there should be 3 more heaven dragon leaves for the heaven dragon fruit. After consuming the heaven dragon fruit, consuming the heaven dragon leaf will not have much effect. The 2 of us would like to request a heaven dragon leaf from junior brother. We can use other resources to exchange for it." "Junior brothers, you are too polite. If not for me speaking to everyone, the heaven dragon fruit would not have appeared. We are all from the same sect, so there is no need to talk about exchanging." Before Xiaochen finished, Zhu Yun and Xian rejoiced. "Junior brother is really straightforward. In that case, it would be impolite for the 2 of us to refuse." Unexpectedly, Xiaochen was so generous, not requiring them to use resources to exchange for the heaven dragon fruit. Xiaochen immediately felt helpless, not knowing what to say. He had not finished speaking yet. When Situ Changfeng saw the situation, he said softly, "The 2 of you are too late. Brother Xiaochen already gave the heaven dragon leaf to the 3 of us. I'm afraid that we cannot return it." "What?" Zhu Yin and Xian were greatly startled. Only now did they notice that the 3 people beside Xiaochen all had extraordinary airs and were very strong. He asked softly, "May I ask who you are?" "The Red Dragon Palace's Heaven Class Core Disciple Murong Yen. Blue Dragon Palace's Heaven Class Core Disciple Situ Changfeng. The Golden Dragon Palace's Heaven Class Core Disciple Wei Hongfei." Zhu Yin and Xian immediately felt immense pressure. These 3 were actually Heaven Class Core disciples with divine dragon bloodlines. Although they were all Heaven Class Core disciples, everyone in the Divine Dragon Empire knew about the Heaven Class Core disciples of the Heaven Dragon Palace and the Heaven Class Core disciples of the other outer palaces. Not only in terms of strength and status, but there was also a clear gap between them. Furthermore, Zhu Yin and Xian were among the weaker Heaven Class Core disciples in the Heaven Dragon Palace. The stronger Heaven Class Core disciples had already passed the test and were out-tempering themselves. Zhu Yin looked a little embarrassed. He smiled embarrassedly and said, "I won't bother you anymore." After the 2 left Xiaochen's residence, they still found it hard to calm down. To think that 3 disciples with divine dragon bloodlines were Xiaochen's honored guests. Based on the 3's expressions, they did not show any signs of superiority when facing Xiaochen. In fact, Zhu Yin and Xian even vaguely felt that the 3 seemed to be here to seek help from Xiaochen. It turned out that the calm, white-clad bladesman at the top of the Heaven Dragon Palace had already surpassed them without them realizing it. Be it breadth of vision or breadth of mind, they were on completely different levels. With this thought, Zhu Yin and Xian could not help feeling somewhat disappointed. It looks like senior sister Li Luo is right. Junior brother Xiaochen indeed has good intentions toward us. Given his current strength and breadth of mind, there is no need for him to mislead us or fear that we will surpass him. Xian let out a long sigh, speaking the truth somewhat helplessly. Even Heaven-class core disciples with divine dragon bloodlines sought help from Xiaochen. How could Xiaochen treat them as opponents and harbor ill intentions? Shaking their heads, the 2 showed dispirited expressions as they left in disappointment. They were not too disappointed that they could not obtain the Heaven Dragon Leaf. What they truly felt disappointed about was discovering the invisible gap between them and Xiaochen. Situ Changfeng's group did not remain for long in Cold Moon Cave. Wei Hongfei stood up and said, "Let's meet at the largest inn in Heaven Dragon City 3 days from now. Xiaochen, you should make your preparations as well." Right. After the 3 left, Xiaochen took out the heaven dragon fruit and ate it without thinking. Not to mention, the glistening heaven dragon fruit tasted pretty good. It was fragrant and sweet, refreshing and moisturizing. After a while, the effects of the heaven dragon fruit started to show. Xiaochen closed his eyes and carefully experienced it. The instant he closed his eyes, his entire body gave off a resplendent light. The bright light was formed by strands of pure dragon qi. Then, the dragon qi gathered behind Xiaochen and formed a heaven dragon. With the aid of the heaven dragon fruit, the strand of heaven dragon's mysteries in Xiaochen's body strengthened continuously. Xiaochen felt that he could gradually grasp the originally vague and unfathomable heaven dragon's mysteries, which seemed to be about to completely take form. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, Xiaochen's aura soared wildly. After consuming the heaven dragon fruit, the two types of veritable essence energy in Xiaochen's body continuously condensed and strengthened rapidly. His cultivation advanced by leaps and bounds. When Xiaochen completely absorbed the heaven dragon fruit, his cultivation directly soared to peak consummation late-stage star venerate. This saved Xiaochen a lot of time, allowing him to reach the peak of the star venerate realm. Originally, Xiaochen thought that he would need some time to reach the bottleneck. Now he had reached it. For hours later, Xiaochen opened his eyes. A strand of golden dragon-shaped light flashed in his eyes. How strong! My veritable essence energy is secondary. My heaven dragon's mysteries are truly a pleasant surprise. Xiaochen's veritable essence energy would reach this level sooner or later. Furthermore, he did not lack resources, he only lacked time. However, the heaven dragon's mysteries were different. Comprehending them was relatively slow. One heaven dragon fruit directly helped Xiaochen condense a complete strand of the heaven dragon's mysteries. It was no longer like before, where he could only comprehend it but not grasp it. With a thought, a strand of swimming light appeared in Xiaochen's palm. This was the tangible image of the heaven dragon's mysteries. Xiaochen revealed joy on his face. In the future, it would be easy for him to infuse the heaven dragon's mysteries into his aura, dragon might, or martial techniques. Xiaochen now felt even more confident of becoming a heaven dragon. For the next 3 days, Xiaochen did not make any preparations. He spent all his time digesting the many benefits of the heaven dragon fruit. Aside from his veritable essence energy, cultivation, and the heaven dragon's mysteries, he had to slowly digest the other benefits. For example, the cleansing of his physical body allowed Xiaochen's divine dragon war body to improve by another level. 3 days later, at the largest inn in Heaven Dragon City, Xiaochen met up with Situ Changfeng and the other two. Now that they were no longer in the Heaven Dragon Palace, Wei Hongfei, Morong Yan, and Wei Hongfei felt much less restrained. When Situ Changfeng saw Xiaochen, his eyes lit up. Xiaochen, you refined the Heaven Dragon fruit? Yes, the effects are pretty good. I refined my veritable essence energy again, and my cultivation even advanced to peak consummation late-stage star venerate. My heaven dragon's mysteries improved further. In Xiaochen's current state, one heaven dragon fruit raised his combat prowess by at least 20%. Although Situ Changfeng and the other two also refined the heaven dragon leaves, the effects were much weaker than Xiaochen's. Furthermore, the three had not comprehended the heaven dragon's mysteries. Hence, they had wasted the greatest effect. In that case, let's go to Desolate God Valley. It looks like we have a better chance there, Situ Changfeng said softly with a smile. Wei Hongfei said, let's get back to business. Xiaochen, how much do you know about Desolate God Valley? Not much. I only know that it is a forbidden land at the intersection of several empires. Not only will there be Divine Dragon Empire cultivators, but cultivators from the other empires will also appear there. Aside from the dangers of Desolate God Valley itself, we also have to deal with the cultivators of the other empires. Wei Hongfei said seriously. In reality, it is even more dangerous than you think. With our strength, we can probably only search for fortuitous encounters at the periphery of Desolate God Valley. Although Desolate God Valley is called a valley, in reality, it is extremely vast, comparable to a county of an empire. There are also many secret realms that can materialize unknown small worlds. However, as long as we can find some fortuitous encounters, our chances in the competition between the 7 outer palaces will be much higher. Xiao Chen thought of something else and asked, "How strong do you rank among the heaven-class core disciples of your respective outer palaces?" When Murong Yan and the other two heard that, they thought for a while before answering honestly. Although we are not at the bottom, it will still be difficult for us to enter the top 10. Many of the veteran heaven-class core disciples hide their strength and are extremely horrifying. No one knows exactly how strong they are. When Xiao Chen heard that, he felt slightly stunned. A heaven-class core disciple with a divine dragon bloodline seemed somewhat horrifying. To think that Murong Yan and Wei Hongfei did not even dare to say that they ranked in the top 10. Wei Hongfei said seriously, "However, the 3 of us are still very confident that we can enter the top 10 within half a year. Those people only have a little more time than us. Their talent and comprehension ability are not that much stronger. In fact, they might not even be comparable to us." Situ Changfeng said, "This time we entered Desolate God Valley to search for a fortuitous encounter, one that can shorten the time and overtake them." Xiao Chen entered deep thought. He had not seen any of the veteran heaven-class core disciples of the Heaven Dragon Palace. However, based on Zhu Yun, Li Luo, and Wei Hongfei's strength, he could tell that the heaven-class core disciples that left the Heaven Dragon Palace would not be weak. Compared to Situ Changfeng, Murong Yan and Wei Hongfei, Xiao Chen also needed to work hard. After discussing and coming to an agreement, Wei Hongfei said, "We still need to go to the White Dragon Palace and the Green Dragon Palace to find one person each. Let's go to the White Dragon Palace first." Chapter 1928. Each province had 100 counties. Each county was the size of a great realm. The Divine Dragon Empire had a total of 7 provinces. The 6 colored Divine Dragons each occupied a province. The strong mixed-blood dragon clans occupied the other provinces. The province that the White Dragon bloodline occupied was Cloudwater Province. The White Dragon Palace was in Cloudwater Province's White Mountain County, far from the Heaven Dragon Palace. A holy venerate might not be able to reach it even if he flew for a year. They could only rely on the teleportation formations between cities to teleport from one city to another to travel extremely great distances. Xiao Chen's group of 4 traveled for 7 days, traveling non-stop. Finally, they arrived at White Mountain County. Like the Heaven Dragon Palace, the White Dragon Palace was also in an ancient dragon city, White Cloud City. The ancient dragon city had an extremely simple and refreshing name. Like its name, most of the buildings in the city were white. However, they were not pure white. Instead, they gave off a jade-like luster. The later generations must have used divine materials to refurbish this ancient dragon throne according to the white dragon race's preferences. Although the city was completely white, it gave off a much more magnificent feeling than Heaven Dragon City. However, there were far fewer cultivators in the city than in Heaven Dragon City. The streets of Heaven Dragon City were bustling with people, flowing in an endless stream. This was understandable. There were many more cultivators with mixed-blood dragon bloodlines than the cultivators of the other 6 colored divine dragons. There was no comparison at all. Normally, mixed-blood dragon cultivators would not come to this White Cloud City for no reason. The mixed-blood dragons in this city were probably servants and the like of the lowest rung. Xiao Chen sensed that this city was not friendly to mixed-blood dragons. After thinking about it, he did not have any intention of going to the White Dragon Palace. He did not want to cause any trouble. "Xiao Chen, are you sure you are not coming with us?" Wei Hongfei asked. After all, they had come together, so he hoped to go together. Xiao Chen nodded and said, "I'm not going." Murong Yan smiled and said, "Are you really not going? I heard that the White Dragon Holy Daughter occasionally returns to the White Dragon Palace. If you don't go and miss out, it will be a pity." Situ Changfeng laughed to himself. What kind of reason is this? Xiao Chen does not look like someone who covets beauty. Although the White Dragon Holy Daughter was indeed peerless in her generation, her beauty was enough to topple cities. However, he did not believe that Xiao Chen would change his mind just because of the White Dragon Saintess. Unexpectedly, just as he was thinking this, Xiao Chen said, "There's no harm in going." Ha ha ha, Xiao Chen is indeed a kindred spirit. Yin guffawed. However, Wei Hongfei and Situ Changfeng were startled. However, he soon calmed down. Situ Changfeng said, "The White Dragon Holy Daughter is indeed a peerless beauty. Back then, I was fortunate enough to see her from afar. She is indeed extraordinarily charming. After a few years, I wonder how much more elegant it has become." Wei Hongfei said, "He should be a late-stage Holy Venerate. He will probably have some difficulty breaking through to Sovereign Personage. The bottleneck between Holy Venerate and Sovereign Personage is still too big." The group chatted as they walked. Soon, they arrived at the White Dragon Palace's main gate. Xiao Chen took a look. Compared to the Heaven Dragon Palace's main gate, this gate was much more vast and majestic. The mountain range occupied by the outer palaces controlled by the 6-colored divine dragons should be even larger than the mountain range occupied by the Heaven Dragon Palace. Wei Hongfei had already informed the White Dragon Palace in advance. As a Golden Dragon Palace Heaven-class core disciple, the White Dragon Palace still showed him some face. After verifying their identities, the White Dragon Palace did not make things difficult for them. It even sent an administrator to lead the way. Everything in the White Dragon Palace was normal. Clearly, Lu Riyue did not come. There were not many coincidences in the world. Xiao Chen had come with some hope, so he was not too disappointed. After entering a residence, the servants took care of the group, and they started to wait. Xiao Chen observed for a while. This residence was similar to his own. However, there were many more servants. Even if the master was not around, the guests would be well taken care of. The person we are waiting for is very strong. He became a Heaven-class core disciple 1 year ago. If nothing unexpected happens, he will be the leader of this operation. Most importantly, he has already been to the Desolate God Valley twice, and is much more experienced than us. This trip is definitely not for him. Wei Hongfei softly introduced the identity and strength of the person he wanted to meet on this trip to the White Dragon Palace. "Stronger than you?" Yen said with some surprise. If that was the case, Xiao Chen's strength would truly inspire awe. Something like that. Wei Hongfei did not express any opinion, not objecting. Dong dong dong. Xiao Chen and the others didn't have to wait for long before they heard footsteps coming from outside. However, from the sound of it, it wasn't just one person. As expected, of the 2 White Dragon race martial artists of similar stature, the one on the left was particularly eye-catching. His cultivation was not high, just a peak early-stage Holy Venerate. However, he had an aura that had been tempered for a long time. It was extremely terrifying. With one look, one could tell that he was an expert who had gone through many trials and tribulations. His gaze was sharp and his expression was cold. "Brother Zhongli, long time no see." Wei Hongfei stood up to welcome Zhongli. At the same time, he introduced Xiao Chen and the others. Every time Zhongli introduced someone, he nodded slightly to indicate his understanding. However, when it was Xiao Chen's turn, Zhongli interrupted. "Brother Wei, our agreement did not mention bringing a mixed-blood dragon along." Here comes trouble. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. However, he remained calm and collected, his expression not changing. He had already expected this. So what if he is a mixed-blood dragon? As long as he is strong enough, that is enough. Yen said straightforwardly, dissatisfied with Zhongli's attitude. Zhongli could not be bothered to look at Yen. He pointed to the person beside him and said, "This is my junior brother Lu Yuanfei. He is a new Heaven-class core disciple of the White Dragon Palace this year. I want to bring him to Desolate God Valley." Situ Changfeng said softly, "Actually, with our team, having one more person is not a problem at all." "Why is it not a problem?" "One more person means one more share of the benefits and one more person to take care of. If we end up being a burden, we might end up harming the entire team. My team does not tolerate trash." Zhongli showed a cold expression, showing no intention of backing down. Situ Changfeng and Wei Hongfei immediately felt put on the spot. Unexpectedly, Wei Hongfei was so determined. However, Wei Hongfei did not back down. He said seriously, "Xiao Chen is not weak. Before he became a Heaven-class core disciple, he could already kill Rakshasa Tion's clone with one saber strike. He nearly single-handedly saved the entire Flame Dragon Legion. Now, he even practiced the Supreme Dragon Fist. If Brother Zhongli insists, then we can only take the risk and enter by ourselves. Although Zhongli was strong and had the experience of entering desolate God Valley, it was impossible for Wei Hongfei to abandon Xiaochun. Wei Hongfei had strong confidence in Xiaochun, so he decisively made his choice. Such a decisive decision startled Zhongli. To think that Wei Hongfei was so determined. Very well, I'll take a step back. Xiaochun is indeed extraordinary to be able to practice the Supreme Dragon Fist. However, the Supreme Dragon Fist has clear flaws. If he loses control of his emotions, he might end up entering a state of berserking qi deviation. Clearly, he cannot use it as a trump card. Without the Supreme Dragon Fist, how strong can he be? Zhongli was extremely calm, analyzing objectively. So, Situ Changfeng felt that the other party was implying something. Zhongli said seriously, "It's very simple. Don't use the Supreme Dragon Fist and fight with my junior brother. We need a stable companion, not a troublesome person who might lose control of his emotions at any moment. If you win, I have nothing to say." Zhongli's words sounded reasonable. However, Situ Changfeng felt that Zhongli had already prepared this excuse when he brought Lu Yunfei over. Zhongli wanted to kick Xiaochun out and send his junior brother in. Situ Changfeng and Wei Hongfei exchanged looks. They could not decide. So they looked at Xiaochun and asked, "Xiaochun, what do you think?" After all, it would be unfair to Xiaochun if they did not use the Supreme Dragon Fist. Xiaochun said calmly, "I have no objections." Zhongli smiled and said, "You are rather bold. I forgot to mention that my junior brother has already converted 20% of his divine dragon bloodline. His potential is even greater than mine. This is also why I insisted on bringing him to desolate God Valley." What? Situ Changfeng, Murongyan, and the others were startled. As they looked at Lu Yunfei, they found this somewhat incredulous. The great desolate Ian bloodline was a boundless treasure trove. Normally, before one reached the Faux God realm, it would be very difficult to convert all of it into one's strength. Xiaochun managed to convert 20% of his bloodline as a holy venerate. This person had indeed hidden his strength. Situ Changfeng and the others only managed to convert less than 10%. The conversion of one's bloodline could only be done with external help, like medicinal pills or natural treasures. Some people had special physiques. For the same medicinal pill, if one could convert 1,000th, another could convert 100th. The various sects would pay attention to people with such special physiques and focus on nurturing them. Who would have thought that the ordinary-looking Lu Yunfei would actually have a special physique? Chapter 1929. Lu Yunfei looked at Xiaochun and smiled coldly. "You will lose for sure. To think that you dare to fight me without using the Supreme Dragon Fist. However, don't worry. If you take the initiative to admit defeat, I will not injure you." Wei Hongfei said anxiously, "Xiaochun, let's go. There is no need to remain in this White Dragon Palace. Given the strength of the four of us, if we work together, we can still barge into desolate God Valley." "Go. Why go?" Xiaochun retorted coldly. "Didn't you just convert 20% of your bloodline power? Being able to convert 20% of your bloodline power as a holy venerate is indeed incredible. However, so what? Whether you can bring it out, and how much you can bring out is the key. If you cannot bring it out, it will be useless." Xiaochun had to admit that being able to convert 20% of his bloodline power as a holy venerate was indeed incredible. Furthermore, he had a divine dragon bloodline. Converting 20% of his bloodline power would make him stronger than ordinary people. It would be easy for him to fight across realms. As his cultivation increased, the 20% of his bloodline power would come into play, increasing its potential. Xiaochun had not tested himself, but he estimated that he had converted about 10% of his bloodline power. Although Xiaochun did not have a special physique, he had consumed and refined a lot of life juice source back then, digging out the bloodline power. Even now, he was still benefiting from it. Now that his grade 8 blue dragon bloodline was formed, Xiaochun was confident that he could match the other party's white dragon bloodline by several grades. Furthermore, it was still unknown how much the other party could bring out. Even without using the Supreme Dragon Fist, Xiao Chen was confident of defeating the other party. What bold words! Xiao Chen's words thoroughly enraged Lu Yunfei. He demanded, "You mixed-blood dragon, do you dare to make a bet with me? What are we betting? 10,000 primeval heavenly pills. Not only that, but whoever loses will kneel and kowtow to the other party and admit their mistake." Lu Yunfei shouted in an overbearing manner. Zhongli revealed a playful smile. He did not care. In any case, the loser would not be Lu Yunfei. If Xiao Chen did not dare to accept the bet and admitted defeat, that would be for the best. If I am the leader, I will not need a gutless person. If you don't have the guts, there's no need for you to follow me. Zhongli glanced at Xiao Chen and said nonchalantly, "My junior brother is being overbearing, and my senior brother is mocking me, squeezing me everywhere." However, these words provoked Wei Hongfei. He flung his sleeves and said coldly, "It looks like there is no need for us to remain in this White Dragon Palace. Xiao Chen, let's go. Since they don't welcome us, there's no need for us to be entangled here." With such an attitude, there was no need to continue playing with them. Even if they really formed a team, the knot in his heart was still there, and it was inevitable that a grudge would arise. Xiao Chen could not help admiring Wei Hongfei's decisiveness. If the team was not harmonious, there would be conflicts in desolate God Valley. Since there was no way to compromise, it was better to leave as soon as possible. What the hell? Pooh. Morongyan cursed and stood up indignantly. Clearly, he supported Wei Hongfei's decision. "Wei Hongfei, you actually fell out with me for a mixed-blood dragon?" Zhongli looked at Wei Hongfei incredulously, filled with confusion. Wei Hongfei smiled coldly and said, "Your question is rather interesting. Did you fall out with me for a junior brother with a special physique? Why can't I fall out with you for a mixed-blood dragon who successfully practiced the Supreme Dragon Fist, and even saved my life? Little mixed-blood dragon, stand still. Your duel with me has not started yet." Seeing Xiao Chen stand up and leave, Lu Yunfei, who was at the side, suddenly attacked, charging at Xiao Chen. The expressions of Murong Yan and the others changed involuntarily. Since Xiao Chen already fell out with Xiao Chen, how could there be a duel? "Xiao Chen, be careful." A few people shouted a warning. Without needing anyone to remind him, Xiao Chen already sensed the other party's killing intent the moment it appeared. Xiao Chen turned around and threw a palm strike. The instant Xiao Chen attacked, a Dao disc unfurled behind him and infused the force of his palm strike. Boom. Great Dao energy? Do you think you are the only one with it? Lu Yunfei snorted coldly, and a Dao disc appeared behind him as well, infusing it into his palm wind. His aura immediately soared. A strong wind blew, and Dao might swept out. The others quickly scattered. "You think you can touch me at all? Child's play." Lu Yunfei revealed a disdainful smile. His aura continuously merged with the Dao might and soared. It looked like Xiao Chen was about to fall into a disadvantage. With a thought, another Dao might appeared. Two kinds of Dao might? Damn it! Back down. Lu Yunfei felt slightly startled. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen comprehended two different great Daos. So he quickly covered himself with his holy venerate will. Enough! When Xiao Chen saw that the other party was relentless, he felt slightly enraged. The two Dao might layered over each other as he unleashed his full power, going from small perfection to great perfection. Lightning and saber intent resonated. As electric light flickered, the two great perfection Dao might merged into one. Boom! The impact knocked Lu Yunfei back and made him vomit blood. Great perfection Dao might. Lu Yunfei and Zhongli were both startled. Both kinds of Dao might have reached great perfection. When Wei Hongfei and the other two saw this scene, they revealed joy after their initial shock. Unexpectedly, both of Xiao Chen's great Dao energies had reached great perfection. Morongyan laughed loudly. "Haha! You are indeed trash. You should rejoice that my brother Xiao Chen did not gamble with you. Otherwise you would have to kneel and kowtow to apologize. Furthermore, you would have to hand over 10,000 primeval heavenly pills. You are simply bullying others." After being humiliated, Lu Yunfeng flew into a rage and directly attacked Murong Yan. "Do you think I'm afraid of you? Murongyan snorted coldly, and a berserk aura surged out of his body. Boom, boom, boom. The entire building instantly crumbled, and the aura spread. A small portion of the vast residence was instantly destroyed. Causing trouble in my residence? Aren't you looking down on my White Dragon Palace a little too much? Zhongli felt slightly angry. As a veteran Heaven-class core disciple, he allowed his junior brother to be humiliated in his residence. Now this Murongyan even dared to destroy his residence. A murderous intent involuntarily stirred in Zhongli's heart. There was also Wei Hongfei. To think that he did not give me any face, daring to fall out with me. In that case, Zhongli should not leave. He should remain in the White Dragon Palace to reflect on his mistakes and figure out what he did wrong before leaving. When Wei Hongfei saw that Zhongli's expression was off, he said sullenly, "Let's go." The four did not think about anything else. They turned around and left, only wanting to leave this troublesome place. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The four soared into the air and instantly left Wei Hongfei's residence. Arriving at the White Dragon Palace, Zhongli gave chase. He shouted angrily in the air. These people came to the White Dragon Palace to cause trouble. Stop them. As a veteran Heaven-class core disciple, Zhongli held a high position in the White Dragon Palace. After Zhongli gave the order, the surrounding White Dragon Palace disciples were stunned for a moment. Then they surrounded Xiaoqian's group. When Xiaoqian saw more than 100 White Dragon Palace core disciples surround him, he could not help smiling bitterly. What is this? Although Xiaoqian had a feeling that some trouble would occur, he had not expected it to be this big. Wei Hongfei clearly panicked somewhat. He said sullenly, "Let's leave before the elders arrive. We absolutely cannot get caught by them. If they got caught, the other party would be able to say whatever they wanted. However, once they got out, they would be Heaven-class core disciples of the outer palaces. They would not be afraid in their own territory." Haha! White Dragon Palace trash, how dare you block me, Murongyan? You are seeking death. Murongyan did not have a care in the world. He only felt incredibly excited. He had never caused trouble in the Dragon's Gate's outer palaces in his life. Murongyan clapped his hands, and a strong wind of flame surged out, immediately knocking several core disciples into the air. Xiaoqian did not draw his saber. The two Dao might layered over each other as he casually attacked. Anyone who dared to block him would be knocked into the air by the scabbard. Situ Chongfeng's long sleeves fluttered. When he gently waved them, the strong wind was like he had grown an extra arm. Before the people blocking Situ Chongfeng could get close, they were knocked into the air, flailing about helplessly. They could not control their bodies at all. Then they fell to the ground in a sorry state. Immediately, agonized cries rang out endlessly. As long as the Heaven-class core disciples did not make a move, no one could block them. They swept through everything in their path. The four felt like they had returned to the abyssal underworld battlefield. Their auras flourished, and their hot-bloodedness surged. Bang! Bang! Zhongli and Lu Yunfei cursed as they personally blocked the path. Unfortunately, the four worked together with great teamwork. The two exchanged only one move before getting beaten black and blue and getting knocked back. Murongyan and the others could not help laughing loudly. Wei Hongfei said seriously, "Zhongli, if not for your experience in Desolate God Valley, do you think I would really let you be the leader this time? Now it looks like there is no need for that. The four of us working together is enough." The commotion was too great. More and more disciples joined the group blocking the way. However, when the four worked together, it was as Wei Hongfei said. They swept through everything in their path, unable to stop them at all. "Keep it up. Let's see if you can make it out of the mountains." "Let's see how we get out of the mountain," Wei Hongfei said as he looked at the mountain gates. The four raised their auras to their peak. When they worked together, their dragon might spread out unparalleled. Their teamwork actually improved. The four charged forward ferociously, not lingering to fight, not giving the other party a chance to trap them. Just as the four were about to charge out of the mountain gates, a short saber less than 1 meter long descended from the sky. The willow leaves fluttered chaotically. A spot of cold light amid the leaves looked resplendent and dazzling. It fell straight down, moving as fast as a star crashing to the ground. not giving anyone any time to react. Willow leaf saber? Wei Hongfei recognized that saber technique and quickly said, scatter. When the four sensed the strong saber intent contained in the short saber, their expressions changed slightly as they quickly scattered. Boom. When the short saber stabbed into the ground, it exploded. A shock wave containing saber intent radiated out. The four could not dodge in time. They grunted and went flying back. After the four landed, they had to take a few steps back before they could stabilize themselves. This saber strike scattered their formation. They saw a valiant and formidable-looking short-haired girl standing in front. She stretched out her hand and beckoned. Whoosh! Whoosh! The short saber spiraled over. The howling saber light looked dazzling and piercing under the sunlight. Xiao Chun and the others could not help but close their eyes. At the same time, their figures flickered, dodging the saber chi that shot out as the saber light spun. Bang! 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 The four executed their movement techniques. Aside from Xiao Chun, who did not get hit, the saber chi struck them all. Damn it! This girl is really heavy-handed. Morong Yen was in the worst state. His movement technique was weaker, and he suffered more than 10 moves. His body was covered in blood as he cried out in pain. Clang! The short-haired girl withdrew her saber, and the saber light returned to the scabbard at her waist. Do the few of you really think that my White Dragon Palace has no one left? The short-haired girl asked charmingly as she looked at Xiao Chun's group of four. For a moment, Xiao Chun thought that Lu Ruyue had appeared before him. However, her refreshing short hair clearly distinguished her from Lu Ruyue's temperament. Chapter 1930. Dong Dong Dong. The short-haired girl's obstruction broke the formation of the four people, and the people behind them immediately chased after them. They surrounded Xiao Chun and the other three again. Once one's aura was disrupted, it would be very difficult for it to return to its peak even if it was reassembled. Furthermore, with this obstruction, the White Dragon Palace elders would definitely rush over. The few of them glanced at each other and smiled bitterly. They had caused a huge ruckus and charged forward ferociously, but in the end, they still failed at the last step. Without any other thoughts, the few of them gave up on the idea of resisting. However, Xiao Chun did not panic. They were all Heaven-class core disciples. The White Dragon Palace would not dare to do anything to them. At most, they would be confined and sent back to their respective outer halls to receive another punishment. This delay had messed up their plans. Speaking of which, the gains did not make up for the losses. It would affect the subsequent plans, and it was hard to say whether or not it would affect his performance in the competition between the 7 palaces. Morong Yen stopped the wound and squinted. Only then did he discover that the short-haired girl before him was not very old. He looked to be in his 20s, and the childishness on his face had yet to disappear. With one look, one could tell that he did not have much experience in the Jianghu, and he did not have any worldly aura. So it is a girl. Morong Yan's lips curled up. As he spoke, he could not help wailing. It really hurts. Clang. Right after Xiao Chun spoke, a strand of saber chi with a piercing light flew over like a willow leaf. This startled Morong Yan. He could no longer care about stopping his wound. He quickly jumped away, not daring to say anything more. So. A few strong auras came from the air. The sovereign personage experts of the White Dragon Palace rushed over. As Xiao Chun and the others expected, they no longer had a chance. Elders, just leave the matters here to me, said Yi Shiwen. Who knew? The short-haired woman shouted a few words to the sky, and those sovereign personage elders tactfully withdrew. However, before he left, he sent a voice transmission to Xiao Chun and the others. Don't mess around, or it won't just be a simple confinement. After threatening him, he didn't actually go too far away. Truth be told, Xiao Chun and the others would not take action again. If there was an opportunity, they would not give it up. If they didn't have the chance, they wouldn't waste their efforts. Senior Sister Lu. It was at this moment that Lu Yunfei and Zhongli rushed over in panic. Situ Changfeng whispered to Wei Hongfei, Hongfei, who is this girl? How could he have a lancet saber? That Zhongli was actually so polite to him. What is his background? Wei Hongfei said uncertainly. I heard that Lu Ruyue has a younger sister who rarely shows herself. That should be her, right? What? Xiao Chen was shocked. Sister? What's going on? Why haven't I heard of this before? Xiao Chen was indescribably shocked. However, it wasn't convenient for him to pursue the matter, so he could only suppress the doubts in his heart. Although he was shocked, Xiao Chen didn't show it. He just looked at the short-haired girl a few more times. Seeing that Xiao Chen and the others had no intention of resisting, he heaved a sigh of relief and said to the short-haired girl, Junior Marshal Sister Lu, these people made a scene in my abode. Not only did they injure Junior Marshal Brother Lu, but they also humiliated me and destroyed half of my abode. Leave these people to me. I have already informed the people from the law enforcement hall. To hell with your nonsense. Murong Yan cursed. It was clearly you who looked down on our friend, wanting to chase him out of the original team and put your junior brother in. After being rejected, your dogs hit junior brother's sneak attacked my friend. Haha. The funniest thing is that not only did your sneak attack fail, but you even defeated him. I have seen shameless people before, but I have never seen someone as shameless as you. No wonder you can enter and leave desolate God Valley a few times. It turns out that you are already unrivaled because your skin is too thick. Haha. Even though the situation was bad, Murong Yan did not dare to show his true colors. Not only did he curse, but he even mocked the other party, not giving the other party any face. Zhongli raged in his heart. However, as Murong Yan said, his expression did not change at all. He said casually, Junior Marshal Brother Lu, send Junior Marshal Sister Lu back first. I will handle this. Yes. Wait a moment. I have not asked clearly yet. Am I the one in charge of this matter? Although I do not have much experience, my elder sister told me that when facing such a matter, the person involved has to avoid arousing suspicion. An outsider has to handle it. The short-haired girl's words were reasonable and well-grounded. Zhongli did not know how to rebut. Junior Marshal Brother Lu, did you really sneak attack someone? The short-haired girl asked Lu Yunfei, who was beside her with wide eyes. Lu Yunfei blushed slightly in embarrassment. He found it hard to answer, so he looked at Zhongli for help. Just as Zhongli was about to say something, the short-haired girl said, Don't interrupt. Let him speak for himself. In any case, the truth will be investigated. Don't ever lie. Otherwise, this young lady would not have done it on purpose. Lu Yunfei felt conflicted for a long time, hesitating over whether to admit to it or not. However, when he thought about it, if the short-haired girl before him really went to make a fuss about it, since he invited the palace master over, he had to tell the truth. He might as well admit it now. It would be more troublesome if the matter blew up. Lu Yunfei clenched his teeth and lowered his head. I did. Really? This startled the short-haired girl. You sneak attacked someone and got defeated? Yes. Lu Yunfei had not even wiped the blood off his lips. He could not hide the wounds on his body. Even if he wanted to rebut, he could not. Lu Yunfei clenched his teeth and nodded again. Zhongli sighed in his heart. It's all over. Things took a turn. Xiao Chun and the others had not expected this Lu Yunfei to admit to everything. Murong Yan smiled and said, You are really trash. You are not strong enough, and your character is not good enough. Your skin is not even as thick as your senior brother's. So what if your bloodline has been converted to 20%? You are still trash. Ha ha ha. Scolding Lu Yunfei and Zhongli felt incredibly delighted. However, this infuriated Lu Yunfei and Zhongli. However, the short-haired girl did not care about this. She smiled excitedly and said, Stop scolding. You are not a good person either. Who is the friend you speak of? Murong Yan immediately felt like vomiting blood in his heart. What do you mean I am not a good person either? However, Murong Yan still obediently pointed to Xiao Chun and said, Xiao Chun, the newly advanced Heaven-class core disciple of the Heaven Dragon Palace. The short-haired girl looked around and roughly understood what was going on. Then she looked at Zhongli and asked, Junior brother Zhong, are you still going to pursue this? Zhongli smiled bitterly and said, With junior sister making the decision, how could I dare to pursue this? What was there to pursue? Lu Yunfei was like an idiot, admitting to everything. This was the White Dragon Palace, his territory. Outsiders were causing trouble here. Even if this matter was brought to the hall master's attention, as long as he refused to admit it, nothing would happen to him. Which outer hall didn't protect their own? Wei Hongfei glanced at Wei Hongfei and snorted coldly. Then he flung his sleeves and left. Lu Yunfei quickly followed. The crowd of core disciples surrounding Xiao Chen's group sighed and scattered. They knew that they had suffered for nothing today. Thank you for upholding justice. If there's nothing else, we'll take our leave. Wei Hongfei performed a cupped fist salute, wanting to take his leave to prevent more problems from arising. There's no rush. With me around, no one will dare to cause trouble for you. My sister has always told me that I can't judge a person based on their bloodline. I can't look down on others just because their bloodline isn't high. This time, Senior Brother Zhong was indeed in the wrong. I apologize on behalf of the White Dragon Palace. I also apologize to this friend from the Heaven Dragon Palace. The short-haired girl said sincerely as she looked at Xiao Chen. Morongyan said, Girl, although you were ruthless in your attacks, your bearing is pretty good. However, just apologizing is useless. We are all injured. We still have to make amends. The short-haired girl did not blame Morongyan for pushing his luck. She smiled and said, Hee. Actually, I was thinking the same thing. I would like to invite you all to my residence. I can see that you are all injured and exhausted a lot of veritable essence energy. It would be good to rest well before continuing on our journey. However, Morongyan felt embarrassed. He had only said it casually. He had not expected the other party to be so sincere, so he felt somewhat terrified. Then he looked at Situ Changfeng and the other two and whispered, What do you think? Xiao Chen was still feeling conflicted. How did Lu Ruyue gain a younger sister? He did not think about anything else. Wei Hongfei rolled his eyes. He really could not do anything to Morongyan. They could have just left. Yet Morongyan insisted on being a busybody. Xiao Chen could not be bothered with him anymore. Situ Changfeng said helplessly, Miss Lu, you are so kind. If we do not go, it would seem like we are being unreasonable. Let's go then. Seeing the group agree, the short-haired girl appeared very happy. After the group went far away, the hidden sovereign personage elders revealed themselves. They all shook their heads helplessly. Second Miss is so mischievous and likes to meddle in other people's business. I think Zhongli is so angry that he wants to kill someone. She has been locked up in the White Dragon Palace all this while. It is rather boring. It is rare for something out of the ordinary to happen. It would be hard for her to ignore it. Are there any problems with these people's identities? There are no problems. They are all heaven-class core disciples of the various palaces. They probably only had a conflict with Zhongli because of a small argument and not intentionally causing trouble. In that case, let's leave this matter as it is. When Second Miss has had enough fun, we will send these people away. To dare to cause trouble in the White Dragon Palace, they are truly bold. Clearly, these elders were still rather angry. Whether one was in the right or not, injuring an outsider or a White Dragon Palace disciple would upset the White Dragon Palace disciples. If not for the short-haired girl's interference, the matter would not have been resolved like this. Chapter 1931. The short-haired girl's residence was built at the side of a lake in the mountains. It was hard to imagine that there would be such a large lake in the middle of a lofty mountain range. The lake water was clear, and a hazy white mist seeped out of it. Spiritual energy assaulted the nose. There was an exquisite pavilion in the middle of the lake, shrouded in white mist. It looked like a fairyland. Mountains surrounded the surroundings, and the lake water looked like a painting. The distant mountain ranges rose and fell. The lake water looked like jade amid the rising and falling mountain ranges, looking like a flawless rainstorm embedded in the mountains. Spirit birds soared in the sky, and fish played in the lake water. When standing at the lakeside and looking, this picturesque lake was incredibly long and narrow, extending out between two mountain ranges. Unexpectedly, this small lake gave off the feeling of a vast sea, vast and unfathomable. As for the pavilion in the middle of the lake, through the mist, one could see dragons and phoenixes carved in the pavilion, looking pure white. The pavilion flickered with a glazed luster, making the lake water ripple and look jade green. A few large mandarin ducks took off, tearing through the mist and flying past the pavilion. The picturesque scenery instantly came to life. Great place. Even if I stay here forever, I will not tire of it. If there comes a day when I no longer pursue the martial Tao, I want to find a scenery comparable to this place and retire. Situ Changfeng sighed, completely immersed in the beautiful scenery. The short-haired girl retorted, "That's impossible. I've lived here for 10 odd years already. I've had enough already. How can I stay here forever and not tire of it?" Xiaochen said softly, "That is because your heart is not calm enough. If your heart is not calm, no matter how beautiful the scenery is, it will not be enough. In your eyes it is just two simple words, mountains and water. If you have already seen all the splendor, experienced the ups and downs of honor and disgrace, what you will see?" The short-haired girl interrupted. "Then what will you see?" Xiaochen smiled and said, "You will still see the mountains and the water. That is still the same. Do you see that pavilion? Every time my elder sister comes back, she stays there." The short-haired girl said softly as she pointed to the white jade pavilion in the middle of the lake. Morong Yan's eyes lit up. "Can we go over and take a look?" The short-haired girl shook her head and said, "Of course not. Without permission. How can we enter my elder sister's room?" "That's just wasting my time," Morong Yan said, appearing somewhat disappointed. "Ehe, but you can go to my cave. Besides, that pavilion is so empty. What's there to see?" After the short-haired girl spoke, she called everyone over to her residence. Xiaochen was the last to enter. Before he left, he glanced at the pavilion in the center of the lake and entered deep thought. After entering the cave, the short-haired girl seemed to have changed into a different person. She kept pestering them with questions. She was far from being an expert like she had been. As the group chatted, they learned that this short-haired girl was called Lu Ruyun, the daughter of the current White Dragon race's clan head. White was white. Of the white of the dragon. The White Dragon race's patriarch was the White Dragon King. He led all the White Dragon cultivators in the Divine Dragon Empire. If something happened, the white of in, the of AAA to the dragon. Of course, the various outer palaces were under the jurisdiction of the Dragon's Gate, even the White Dragon King. Xiaochen couldn't help but say to himself, "Nonsense. Doesn't that mean Lu Ruyue is the White Dragon King's eldest daughter?" In the Sky Dome realm's Qingyan Peak, who died from falling into a demonic Tao and sealed herself in ice before dying. Who was that to Lu Ruyue? Lu Ruyue could not possibly have two fathers. Xiaochen pondered in his heart. This matter might be much more complicated than he thought. The White Dragon Palace core disciple had mentioned it previously. Not only did Lu Ruyue have a grade 7 bloodline, but she also had an innate dragon soul. The power of her dragon soul was extremely pure. Ordinary dragon race cultivators possessed a dragon bloodline. However, their soul energy was that of an ordinary person's. There was nothing special about it. An innate dragon soul contained the power of the dragon soul. It was completely different. Not only could such an existence revitalize the White Dragon clan, but he might even be able to seize the position of Dragon Emperor. Perhaps this was the reason why Xiaochen had to hide Lu Ruyue's identity. Making her the daughter of the White Dragon King would be the most convincing. Who would dare to doubt the White Dragon King? Looking at it now, it was indeed very successful. In the Divine Dragon Empire, Xiaochen had never heard of anyone doubting Lu Ruyue's identity. To Xiaochen, none of this mattered. The crux of the problem was whether Lu Ruyue herself knew about this. If this group of people harmed Ruyue for the sake of their own benefits, I absolutely will not forgive them. Xiaochen had seen people do extreme things before benefits. He could not help but overthink this. "You are going to Desolate God Valley?" the short-haired girl asked as she looked curiously at the group. Wei Hongfei nodded and said, "Yes. Originally, we planned to invite Zhongli along. However, only the 4 of us can go." The short-haired girl Lu Ruyun said, "I'll accompany you. I am no weaker than brother Zhongli. Even he did not stop you, but I did." Confidence flashed in Lu Ruyun's eyes as she spoke. It had to be said that Lu Ruyun was not weak. She could even be considered very strong. As the White Dragon King's daughter, Her bloodline and aptitude would not be bad. Her cultivation techniques, secret manuals, and Dao tools would definitely be the best. On the surface, Lu Ruyue appeared to be stronger than the other four. However, in a true fight to the death, the short-haired girl would not be a match for any one of the four. When the short-haired girl said that she would come along, even the brainless Morong Yen did not respond. Siju Changfeng said, "It looks like it is already late. Let's rest first." The short-haired girl appeared somewhat helpless as she said, "All right. Uncle May, bring the few of you to check in." Late at night, when the bright moon hung high in the sky, Xiaoqun came out of his room and scanned the surroundings with his spiritual sense. After verifying that no one was around, he pushed off with his feet and carefully avoided the many restrictions. Then he landed on the lake and turned into a cool breeze. Sticking close to the lake surface, he silently flew towards the pavilion in the center of the lake. When Xiaoqun got closer, he was shocked to discover that there was nothing at the center of the lake. The water rippled, and a cool breeze blew. There was no pavilion. Is this an illusion? Xiaoqun opened his heavenly eye unhurriedly and saw some clues. The illusion before him was not a simple one. If he took another step forward, he would enter an illusion formation and be trapped. If he tried to barge in, the consequences would be dire. This is not a problem for me. Xiaoqun put on the Death God mask and activated one of the mask's 3 secret techniques, Void Shadow. Xiaoqun's body slowly turned illusory, existing between reality and illusion. He existed for only a second. However, this 1 second was sufficient for Xiaoqun to pass through that troublesome illusion formation and enter the pavilion. I succeeded. Xiaoqun removed his mask and walked up the steps of the White Jade Pavilion. Then he pushed open the door without hesitation. This is where Ruyue lived. Xiaoqun sized up the place and did not find anything special about it. It was just where girls usually stayed. It was as Lu Ruyun said. It was empty. Clearly, she had not returned for a long time. Even if she returned, she would not have stayed for long. As Xiaoqun casually walked around the pavilion, he did not think too much of it. He just wanted to look around where Lu Ruyue once stayed. This is... Xiaoqun stopped and discovered an unfinished painting in the study of the pavilion. Slowly unfurling the painting, Xiaoqun discovered a blurry figure. There was a silhouette, but the facial features were missing. It was unfinished, so he could not make out much. Who is this painting? After closing the painting, Xiaoqun thought curiously, could it be Lu Ruyue who drew it? Only she and Lu Ruyun lived here. Lu Ruyun was still young, and did not look like she knew how to draw. After thinking about it, Xiaoqun concluded that it was very likely that Lu Ruyue drew it. Xiaoqun thought for a while and rolled up the painting. Then he placed it in the universe ring. Ha! Thief! Just at this moment, a voice rang out. The short-haired girl, Lu Ruyun, suddenly appeared outside the door. Xiaoqun raised his head and looked at this girl in astonishment. However, he did not feel surprised. He took out the painting and unfurled it. Did you draw this? Seeing Xiaoqun's calm expression, not showing any shock or embarrassment, the short-haired girl could not help but feel bored. It looked like the other party had guessed long ago that his residence was connected to this pavilion. She could sense every movement in the pavilion at any time. How could I possibly draw these? I borrowed them, and I drew many of them. They are all like this, only the silhouette and no facial features. Hey, this silhouette is actually quite similar to you. Lu Ruyun seemed to have discovered something very interesting. After she walked over, she picked up the painting and looked at Xiaoqun. It really is quite similar. Chapter 1932. Like me? Xiaoqun was a little puzzled. If it's like me, why didn't I just draw it? Wait, don't move. Lu Ruyun ran away in a fluster. However, she quickly returned with a brush and ink in her hands. Narrowing his eyes, he looked at Xiaoqun and drew Xiaoqun's face, filling the blank outline with his facial features. His drawing skills were a little rusty, but he could still draw a simple picture. Not long after, the blurry outline gradually became clearer as the facial features appeared one by one. The person in the painting had delicate facial features, and he was handsome and elegant. Between his brows, there was a sense of elegance and calmness. It really looks exactly the same. Lu Ruyun said incredulously after she finished drawing. Originally, she only felt that it was somewhat similar and casually drew it. Unexpectedly, after the painting was completed, it was nearly identical to Xiaochen. There was nothing special about it. Is it a coincidence? Lu Ruyun muttered to herself as she rubbed her chin in confusion. Let me see. The shock in Xiaochen's heart was no less than hers. When he received the painting and looked at it, he frowned heavily. What was going on? Xiaochen could not understand at all. Was this a coincidence, or did Lu Ruyue forget what he looked like? Impossible. Xiaochen did not believe that Lu Ruyue would forget about him. Furthermore, with a cultivator's memories, as long as they remembered someone, they would be able to recall that person clearly in their mind. You said earlier that your sister often paints, but she only draws the outline and never the facial features? Yes. In my memory, she started drawing when she was very young. I saw that she was trying very hard to remember something, but she still couldn't draw the facial features. At least, I think there are at least tens of thousands of them. Lu Ruyun thought for a while and answered honestly, not hiding anything. Strange. Xiaochen closed the scroll. For a moment, he couldn't help but feel a myriad of thoughts twisting into a knot in his heart. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't untie it. When Lu Ruyue was involved, even the normally calm Xiaochen could not think straight. Xiaochen shifted his gaze and looked at Lu Ruyun. He had to start with her. There was still too little information. If he had more information, he might be able to sort things out. Why are you looking at me like that? Lu Ruyun lowered her head and said, feeling somewhat uncomfortable from Xiaochen's gaze. How much do you know about your sister? So you want to know about my sister? Hee. She practically watched me grow up. How much do you think I know about her? But let me tell you. When Lu Ruyun heard that Xiaochen wanted to ask about Lu Ruyue, a crafty look flashed in her eyes as she kept Xiaochen in suspense. This little girl was actually talking about conditions with him. Xiaochen didn't argue with her. What do you want before you tell me? Hee. You are indeed a smart person. You should know what I want. Lu Ruyun said as she looked at Xiaochen. Xiaochen shook his head and rejected decisively. No way. You cannot go to Desolate God Valley. We cannot bear the responsibility if something happens. No one can endure the White Dragon King's rage. When Lu Ruyun heard this, she retorted angrily. Even so, you can forget about knowing about my sister's matters. You'll find out sooner or later. Xiaochen did not say anything more to the other party. He put down the painting and turned to leave. Don't go. Seeing Xiaochen leave, Lu Ruyun stomped her feet and gritted her teeth in frustration. Then she chased after Xiaochen and said, I'll tell you, all right? Xiaochen revealed a smile in his heart. This girl is still too kind. He stopped and said, very well. Answer whatever I ask. You really defeated me. Ask away. Not wanting to waste time, Xiaochen organized his thoughts and asked a few crucial questions. Did Lu Ruyue mention anything about the Sky Dome realm? Did she do anything strange? Her experiences in the past few years. After obtaining Lu Ruyun's answers, Xiaochen's thoughts slowly cleared. Finally, he concluded that Lu Ruyue's memories had been erased. Indeed, this was the best way for the White Dragon race to control her. It made her feel like she grew up in the White Dragon race. They did not need to do anything else to make Lu Ruyue work for the White Dragon race and acknowledge their identity. Given this, it explained why Lu Ruyue did not remember him. Why had she not shown any strange behavior or mentioned the Sky Dome realm for so many years? After obtaining the answer, Xiaochen heaved a sigh of relief. Memories were the imprints left in the body. They could not be completely erased and could only be sealed. As long as one found a way, one could recover them. It all depended on the strength of the person who did it. If it was the White Dragon King, then it would be somewhat problematic. No matter what, this was a blessing in the midst of misfortune. Lu Ruyue had not suffered any substantial harm, nor was she threatened or controlled. Xiaochen could accept this, albeit barely. Although I know a lot about my elder sister, I keep feeling that she is hiding something from me. In the past few years, there has been an endless stream of people pursuing her. Aside from the Dragon God Crown Prince, there are also several outstanding talents from the 8 great empires. However, she does not fancy any of them. I keep feeling that she has someone else in her heart, but she is not telling me. As Lu Ruyan spoke, she discovered that she did not seem to understand Lu Ruyue that well. It would be strange if you knew. She herself does not know. Xiaochen thought to himself. Then he said, don't overthink. Just remember how good she is to you. That is natural. Hey, that's not right. Why are you so concerned about my elder sister? Now you are even speaking up for her. Lu Ruyan looked suspiciously at Xiaochen, trying to find some clues from his expression. Naturally, she found nothing. There is no need for you to care about that. I thought about it. It is not impossible to bring you to desolate God Valley. Xiaochen changed the topic. Really? Lu Ruyan felt incredibly excited. However, she quickly asked, are you not afraid of my father's rage? In any case, you will fall out with your father because of Lu Ruyue's matter sooner or later. I am not afraid of this. Xiaochen said sullenly. Cut the crap. Are you going or not? Of course. I have waited for this day for a long time. You two will leave tomorrow. After that, I will meet up with you outside White Cloud City. Xiaochen felt somewhat shocked as he asked. You prepared for this long ago? I prepared for several years already. This is the last chance I have. However, I do not dare to go out alone. Coincidentally, I ran into you too. I absolutely cannot miss this opportunity. Actually, even if you did not agree, I would have gone out to look for you. I left a mark on all of you. Lu Ruyun's eyes gleamed, startling Xiaochen. This girl was much more difficult to deal with than he imagined. What if someone discovers that you are missing? I prepared it long ago. Before I leave, I will say that I will be in closed-door cultivation for a period. After I return, I will come out quietly. Then it will be flawless. Don't worry. I have prepared for several years already. There will not be any unexpected surprises. Xiaochen still felt somewhat worried. He said sullenly, there is one thing I will say first. After we go out, you have to listen to me. Otherwise, I will not be able to bring you out. I promise to listen to you. Is that all right? Xiaochen said indifferently, I swear. I swear on my heart demon. Since Xiaochen was going to bring Lu Ruyan out, he had to take care of her safety. He could not allow anything to go wrong. Although Lu Ruyan might have more treasures and trump cards than Xiaochen did, it was better to be cautious. There was nothing wrong with being more careful. That Qin Outyan was also covered in inherited Dao tools. However, Xiaochen still easily defeated him. All right. I swear on my heart demon that after I leave the White Dragon Palace, I will not act on my own. I will listen to you, Xiaochen, until I return to the White Dragon Palace. Seeing Xiaochen's serious expression, Lu Ruyan swore on her heart demon to dispel his worries. Once she went back on her word, she would suffer a rebound from her heart demon, entering a state of berserking qi deviation. Xiaochen heaved a sigh of relief and asked, why do you trust me so much? Lu Ruyan revealed a heroic air on her face. She said sullenly, it is because you are confident. It is because you are a smart person and know my trump card. If you want to harm me, please be prepared to die. I'll go and make preparations. You should leave early as well. Don't let anyone discover you. After saying that, Lu Ruyan turned and left. Xiaochen entered deep thought. This girl is not as simple as she looks. This is good as well. I can worry less. However, as for Lu Ruyue's matter, Xiaochen felt a warmth in his heart as he looked at the portrait. Even though Lu Ruyue's memories were wiped, she still had not completely forgotten him, doing her best to remember. Just you wait. I will definitely help you recover your memories. Xiaochen gave the pavilion one last look before putting on the death god mask and leaving this place. Chapter 1933. The next morning, Xiaochen and the other three were sent off respectfully. Seeing the unfriendly gazes of the White Dragon Palace's group, the four laughed to themselves. They were the only ones who could wreak havoc in the White Dragon Palace and retreat unscathed. What a pity. I realized that I actually quite like this girl. Murong-yen said embarrassedly as he turned his head to look at the White Dragon Palace. However, Not only did Lu Ruyan not send them off, but she did not even see them one last time. Morongyan could not help feeling disappointed. Wei Hongfei mocked. I really enjoyed beating you up. If you are not used to it, I can beat you up again later. Back then, when the four of them were blocked, no one was injured. Lu Ruyun's saber light injured him the most miserably. At the mention of this awkward matter, Morongyan lost his temper. He snorted. I won't lower myself to your level. Situ Changfeng asked. Are you still going to the Green Dragon Palace? The Green Dragon bloodline was extremely good at healing injuries. The Spring Wind and Rain art was their Array Hall's cultivation technique. It is an extremely famous cultivation technique in the entire Central Great Realm. Don't go. Just tell him the rendezvous point. Wei Hongfei said. A friend of the Green Dragon Palace has a life and death friendship with me. He would not be as despicable as Zhongli. That's good. The group left White Cloud City and walked for more than 50 kilometers. Then, a strong aura surged over, kicking up strong winds and falling leaves. A saber intent spread out. Be careful. There is a strong enemy. Wei Hongfei's expression changed slightly. He took a few steps back and shielded the group. Morongyan said angrily. I just knew that this group of people from the White Dragon Palace would not leave the matter at that. Unexpectedly, a burst of bell-like laughter rang out, and a person flew out from the gale. Her short hair fluttered in the wind, and she looked valiant and formidable. This was the White Dragon King's youngest daughter, Lu Ruyun. Morongyan smiled in pleasant surprise. Little girl, you ran out? Don't call me little girl. You're not much older than me, and you're not even as strong as me. Lu Ruyun glared at Morongyan ferociously. Then her gaze fell on Xiaochen. She smiled and said, he agreed to bring me to desolate God Valley. What? The group was greatly startled. Wei Hongfei looked at Xiaochen and said, Brother Xiao, you are not the frivolous sort. Do you know the consequences of bringing her along? Xiaochen nodded and said softly, I did not discuss this with you and acted on my own. I apologize for causing you trouble. She did me a big favor last night. To return the favor, I'll take her out for a trip. This is my plan. If you find it troublesome, I will take her there myself. If you are willing, I will bear all the consequences alone. If there is an opportunity, I will give up the right to choose once. Situ Changfeng and Wei Hongfei immediately felt conflicted, not knowing what to choose. Wei Hongfei looked at Xiaochen and said, Brother Xiao, sorry. I cannot take this risk. I cannot bring you along this time. Xiaochen cupped his hands and said, You're welcome. I've caused you trouble. You brat, don't always think of me as a burden. This is for you. After Lu Ruyan came up, she gave each of them an armband. There was a divine dragon painted in different colors on the armband. This is, Wei Hongfei said, finding it strange. Xiaochen received the armband and glanced at it. Then he said, This is a simplified version of the divine dragon 4 divisions formation. If we work together and execute it, we will be able to hold our own even against a peak holy venerate. We might even be able to trap them to death. Lu Ruyan looked at Xiaochen and said, You know quite a lot. It's all right. Xiaochen had once inherited a strand of faux god flame in the soaring dragon great realm. Although the memories in it were fragmented, they were not complete. Although the memories in it were incomplete, it recorded many things that senior had seen. The Divine Dragon 4 Divisions formation was one of them. After Xiaochen put on the armband, he activated it with his soul energy. The purple Divine Dragon on the armband turned into a dim light and entered Xiaochen's body. The armband slowly disappeared, merging into his sleeve. The others followed Xiaochen's method, activating the armbands one after another. Interesting. This armband is actually able to perfectly match our different attributes. Situ Changfeng discovered that after everyone activated the armband, the colors on the armband were different. This should be because the armband happened to match their attributes. Xiaochen's was lightning, Morongyan's was fire, Situ Changfeng's was wind, and Wei Hongfei's was light. Of course, the Divine Dragon 4 Divisions formation is very famous. Although this is a simplified version, it has boundless uses. Yesterday, I saw that you all worked very well together. You all have different attributes, but you do not have a formation that works together. So, I found this for you, Lu Ruyun said proudly. Then she took out a jade bottle and gave each of them a medicinal pill. This is a rank 3 heavenly pill, Wei Hongfei exclaimed in shock after he received it. Heavenly pills were the highest-ranked medicinal pills in the Great Thousand Realms. There was a total of 9 grades of heavenly pills. The primeval heavenly pills that the 4 normally cultivated were of the lowest grade, having only the most basic functions for cultivation. In reality, there were many kinds of heavenly pills with different effects. Even rank 1 heavenly pills were extremely rare to them. Alchemists that could refine heavenly pills would be highly respected everywhere in the Central Great Realm. They held high statuses and were known as Grandmaster Alchemists. Grandmaster Alchemists were also divided into grades. Being able to refine primeval heavenly pills was the basic requirement for becoming a Grandmaster. Above that, one would be a rank 1 Grandmaster if they could refine rank 1 heavenly pills. Rank 2 Grandmasters if they could refine rank 2 heavenly pills, and so on. Lu Ruyun nodded and said, "That's right. This is a rank 3 heavenly pill, the Spring Sun White Dew Pill, a holy medicine for treating injuries. As long as you all still have breath left, you can be saved." To think that it is a rank 3 heavenly pill. Before my master left, he treated it like a treasure, leaving 1 for me. Ha ha ha. Ruyun, you took out 4 at once. How incredible. Morongyan put away the medicinal pills happily. Then he thought of something and asked worriedly, "You gave them to us? What about you?" Wei Hongfei said in disdain, "Don't worry about her. Worry about yourself. She is the White Dragon King's daughter. No matter what, it is not your turn to worry about her." Morongyan patted his head and smiled. That's true. Everyone was already used to Morongyan's intelligence and did not find it strange. Situ Changfeng toyed with the rank 3 heavenly pill in his hand and said softly, "It looks like we found a treasure. Hongfei, what do you think?" Wei Hongfei thought for a while before saying, "All right, I understand what you mean. You are welcome to join us." Lu Ruyun smiled with narrowed eyes. "Thank you." 3 days later, Duan Fei, the Heaven-class core disciple from the Green Dragon Palace, successfully met up with them. Now that everyone was present, they officially headed for Desolate God Valley. "Let's go." Xiao Chun released the demon blood vulture and had it carry the group at lightning speed. A demon blood vulture. Unexpectedly, Brother Xiao has such a precious demonic pet. This is truly shocking. This was Duan Fei's first time seeing the demon blood vulture, so he felt slightly startled. The demon blood vulture was one of the few mutated beasts in the world that could not be restricted by bottlenecks, able to grow infinitely. Aside from luck, one needed strength to subdue the demon blood vulture. When Duan Fei saw this demon blood vulture, he could not help looking at Xiao Chun in a different light. Xiao Chun felt depressed. Unexpectedly, he managed to gain a whole new level of respect for the silly bird. When the silly bird heard someone praise it, it probably became very happy. Just as Xiao Chun thought, the demon blood vulture screeched and scattered the clouds for 5,000 kilometers around. The demon blood vulture turned into a beam of dim scarlet light, moving even faster. Desolate God Valley was at the intersection of several great empires. It did not belong to any empire. There was a town outside Desolate God Valley called Ancient Desolate Town. This town was not large, but its population was comparable to the large cities of the various empires. The cultivators of the various empires who wanted to adventure in Desolate God Valley would rest here first. Aside from this, all the famous merchant associations of the Central Great Realm would set up shop here. The peak factions of the Central Great Realm also extended their reach here to purchase the treasures that the cultivators brought out of Desolate God Valley. They set up branches of varying strength. This ancient desolate town is really bustling. Seeing is believing. The people walking around the town were star venerates at the very least. With a casual glance, one could see holy venerates and sovereign personages. There were even a few terrifying auras hidden in the town, inspiring fear in people and deterring them from probing. There had to be terrifying existences that surpassed sovereign personages holding down the fort in the dark. After traveling for several hundred kilometers, The demon blood vulture became obedient. It withdrew its aura and flew carefully. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. When the demon blood vulture landed, it turned into a beam of red light and entered Xiao Chen's finger. Such a scene made the eyes of the others light up. They did not know what was going on. To think that he did not use a demonic pet pouch. Do you have any plans for going to Desolate God Valley? Lu Ruyun asked. Duan Fei did not know Lu Ruyun's identity. He smiled and replied, "This is our first time going to Desolate God Valley. We know nothing about it. What plans could we have? We can only remain cautious and go as far as possible to see if we can run into any fortuitous encounters." Wei Hongfei and the others nodded. That was the plan. Or rather, there was no plan at all. Lu Ruyun frowned and said, "You are all so stupid. It would be strange if you could gain anything by trying your luck like that. Fortuitous encounters need to be more proactive in order to grasp them." Wei Hongfei discovered that he could not underestimate this Lu Ruyun. He asked, "What do you think? How should we take the initiative to capture them?" Lu Ruyun replied, "Desolate God Valley is boundlessly vast with countless forbidden lands and incredibly dangerous. However, the empires have been exploring it for so many years. The places that need to be explored have mostly been explored. There will definitely be a lot of useful information." What useful information can there be? Before I came here, I asked around but did not find anything valuable, Wei Hongfei said with a frown. Watch me. After saying that, Lu Ruyun ran off like a wisp of smoke. Wei Hongfei's expression changed slightly as he glanced at Xiao Chun. However, he discovered that Xiao Chun had been following Lu Ruyun in secret. When Wei Hongfei saw this scene, he relaxed slightly. Xiao Chun was indeed reliable. With him around, there was no need to worry about anything happening to Lu Ruyun. Xiao Chun secretly followed Lu Ruyun into ancient desolate town. When he saw her actions, he realized that this girl had gone to look for the local tyrant. She is rather smart, Xiao Chun praised in his heart. Wei Hongfei was the one who organized this trip. Originally, he did not think too much about it. Now it looks like Wei Hongfei had indeed not done some things well. There was a certain amount of risk in looking for the local tyrant. However, if they could obtain useful information, it would be much better than trying their luck in Desolate God Valley. Chapter 1934. Lu Ruyun exuded a heroic air. She looked pretty, youthful, and lively. Furthermore, she had the aura of a divine dragon, and her cultivation was not low. When that local boss spoke with her, he did not dare to have any other thoughts. After paying a certain number of primeval heavenly pills, Lu Ruyun obtained the information she wanted. Then she revealed a smile and sent the other party away. Whoosh! Xiao Chun appeared beside Lu Ruyun and asked softly, "Is the information you obtained valuable?" Lu Ruyun replied softly, "Naturally, it is valuable. There are many brokers in this ancient desolate town. They often know Desolate God Valley like the back of their hands. If there is a fortuitous encounter, they will know immediately. These brokers are all opportunists. They cannot obtain fortuitous encounters on their own, so they can only organize teams of cultivators to go and eliminate them. Teams like ours are all heaven-class core disciples of the Dragon's Gate's outer palace. We are truly in high demand. This local boss told me that there happens to be a rather famous broker looking for teams. Just wait. Someone will come looking for us soon." Xiao Chun could not help saying in admiration, "You are still young and inexperienced, but you know a lot. Your elder sister told you this, right?" "Hee. You guessed it. My elder sister has been to Desolate God Valley several times. I am indeed more familiar with this place than you. How about it? I am more reliable than that Zhongli, right?" Lu Ruyun put on an expression of "I am very smart. Quick, come and praise me." Xiao Chun glanced at her and directly ignored her. Then he turned around and went back to inform Wei Hongfei's group. "What a boring fellow." Lu Ruyun muttered a few words before following behind Xiao Chun. Soon the group gathered. After hearing the news, they all felt somewhat nervous and started discussing it. Wei Hongfei looked at Xiao Chun and asked, "Xiao Chun, what do you think?" Xiao Chun voiced his opinion. "I lean towards Lu Ruyun's opinion. Going around randomly is too much luck. If we are unlucky, we will have wasted this opportunity. Don't forget why we are here. As for the risk, there will definitely be. However, this is not our first time adventuring. We should understand that risk and opportunity always coexist. With Xiao Chen's opinion, Wei Hongfei made the final decision. Good. It's settled then. Not long after entering the city, someone called out to Xiao Chen's group. This must be Miss Lu Ruyun. An ordinary-looking young man with a shrewd look in his eyes arrived in front of the group. After sizing up Xiao Chen and the others, a plan formed in his heart. These people were pretty strong. They were the people he was looking for. Seeing the group's confused expressions, this person introduced himself. Hehe. I am Qi Yunfeng, a disciple of the ruling Sword Gate. I received news that a team of divine dragon cultivators will be going to Desolate God. I would like to come. I am. Xiao Chun and the others exchanged glances. It was indeed as Lu Ruyun said. However, this was a little too fast. Wei. Xiao and Chun Xiao He Xiao A and Xiao and of Ru Xiao, Xiao, and Xiao and of War Xiao. Of Xiao of Wei, He Xiao He Wei Xiao Ru, I Li Xiao and Chun Xiao. I do not dare to claim my name. I am Wei Hongfei. Xiao Chen's eyes were as clear as water. He figured out some of Qi Yunfeng's tricks. He truly lived up to his reputation as a broker. His connections were excellent. Lu Ruyun had already told that local boss that there was a Golden Dragon Palace Heaven-class core disciple in their team. In the end, this fellow still showed a shocked expression. If not for Xiao Chen knowing in advance, he might have been fooled. Xiao Chen's acting was very convincing. Soon Qi Yunfeng and Wei Hongfei started chatting excitedly. Qi Yunfeng took the opportunity to invite them, saying, "This is not the place to speak. I have a courtyard in ancient desolate town. Let's gather there." However, Wei Hongfei did not lower his guard. He turned his head to look at Xiao Chun, seeking his opinion. Xiao Chun nodded slightly. Wei Hongfei said, "In that case, many thanks for Brother Qi's hospitality." When Qi Yunfeng saw this, he felt shocked. Why would a Golden Dragon Palace Heaven-class core disciple seek advice from a mixed-blood dragon? What was even stranger was that this mixed-blood dragon was only a star venerate. Never mind, I will not think about it. In any case, he is just a one-star venerate. There is no need to worry. When they arrived at his courtyard, they saw a chariot in the shape of a fiery bird hovering above the courtyard. It emitted a faint light, and its pressure was frightening, intimidating one's soul. Heaven suspending war chariot. Wei Hongfei exclaimed with some shock. Brother Qi, you are really generous. The original model of the heaven suspending war chariot was manufactured by the Pirate Alliance. The Pirate Alliance had specially designed it for the experts of the Central Great Realm. Its performance was excellent, far surpassing the other chariots on the continent, but they were also rare. Owning one was a symbol of status. However, this heaven-suspending war chariot also had 9 grades. Qi Yunfeng's was the lowest grade. However, for people of their cultivation, it was still extremely precious and powerful. Qi Yunfeng said modestly, "It's fine. It is just a 1-star. However, its speed is exceptional. With this war chariot, no holy venerate can catch up to me. Even a regular sovereign personage would have to put in a lot of effort to catch up. As for defense, it can withstand 3 attacks from a sovereign personage." Although Qi Yunfeng showed a humble expression, his tone was very proud. Lu Ruyun whispered to Xiao Chun, "How cocky." "I have one as well, and it is a 2-star one," Xiao Chun asked. "Then, why did you not take it out at the start?" "Hehe. When we are outside we should not flaunt our wealth," Lu Ruyun said with a smile, looking very pretty and lovable. "Qi Yunfeng, have you fucking found the person yet? This old man has already waited for a month." Just at this moment, curses came from the courtyard. Qi Yunfeng laughed awkwardly and said, "Let's go in first." After entering, the group discovered that there were already 3 small groups inside. One of them was a skinny old man. He was alone and was known as Eccentric Tai. Eccentric Tai's cultivation was the highest, a peak consummation late-stage holy venerate. With his horrifying cultivation, he could face Xiao Chun and the others without any pressure. The one who cursed Qi Yunfeng earlier was this old man, who had a strange temper. The other group had a total of 9 people. The leader was a stout, middle-aged man named Bailey Xiao, a late-stage holy venerate. Everyone in this group was at least a holy venerate. The last group was a middle-aged couple. The man was from the Confucian sect, dressed like a scholar. The woman was pretty and held a whip in her hand. Although they were husband and wife, they did not look compatible. After a simple introduction, eccentric Tai smiled sinisterly and said, "To think that they are people from the Divine Dragon Empire. Qi Yinfeng has good eyes. All of them are cultivators with Divine Dragon bloodlines. Not bad, not bad." The middle-aged couple and Bailey Xiao were very satisfied with Xiao Chen's group. As for Xiao Chen, who was in the middle, they completely ignored him. Qi Yinfeng said seriously, "I will cut to the chase. Since the few of you spread the news, you clearly want to go to Desolate God Valley and search for fortuitous encounters. Truth be told, I have a great fortuitous encounter here, and would like to invite the few of you to join me." Wei Hongfei glanced at the other 3 groups and asked calmly, "What fortuitous encounter? You already have so many people. Even if you face a sovereign personage, you should be able to hold your own. Why are you looking for us?" Eccentric Tai, the middle-aged couple, and Bailey Xiao did not say anything. They only smiled mysteriously. "Naturally, I have a reason for looking for you. It is because my fortuitous encounter is..." Qi Yinfeng enunciated every word with emphasis. "An overlord lord-level ferocious beast, a demonic blood thousand-winged snake." The moment Qi Yinfeng said that, the expressions of Xiao Chen and the others immediately changed. The demonic blood thousand-winged snake was a bona fide sovereign personage ferocious beast. Furthermore, it had the bloodline of a great desolate Ian ferocious beast. Regular sovereign personages could not take it down. While they had the advantage in numbers, they did not stand much of a chance against a sovereign personage. As for targeting the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, they would die no matter how many people went. They were on a completely different level. Wei Hongfei smiled embarrassedly and said, "Brother Qi, you must be joking. This demonic blood thousand-winged snake should have experienced some kind of change. Let me think, is it severely injured, or did it just undergo a lightning tribulation?" Xiao Chen's sudden words startled Qi Yinfeng. This mixed blood dragon had said what he wanted to say. That's right. This demonic blood thousand-winged snake just underwent a lightning tribulation and is currently at its weakest. Otherwise, once it survives this period, it will not have another chance. Although it is still very dangerous now, there is still a chance. Qi Yinfeng looked around and smiled. Furthermore, doesn't it have you guys now? If you all activate your great desolate Ian bloodlines at the same time, haha. Even sovereign personages would have to run when they saw you. Chapter 1935. Xiao Chen and the others exchanged glances. So that was the plan. How could the great desolate Ian bloodline be activated so casually? If these were his own people, he would not mind activating his great desolate Ian bloodline. However, there were outsiders present. After activating the bloodline, it could only be used as a life-saving measure. Wei Hongfei said straightforwardly, "If Brother Qi has such an intention, I'm afraid we will not be able to continue this discussion." Qi Yinfeng smiled and said, "I was just speaking casually just in case. After all, they are all heaven-class core disciples of the Dragon's Gate's outer palace. Even if they do not use their great desolate Ian bloodlines, they are strong enough. Let's discuss this first." Qi Yinfeng extended his hand and said, "Please." Suddenly, Xiao Chen called them out of the courtyard. Then he laid out a simple isolation formation. In the courtyard, eccentric Tai looked at Qi Yinfeng and said, "Little fellow Qi, you actually managed to find the bloodline cultivators of the 8 great empires. We are much more confident in this operation." Qi Yinfeng said, "It looks like Senior Tai also knows that the demonic blood thousand-winged snake has the bloodline of a great desolate Ian ferocious beast. The might of its bloodline greatly suppresses us. With a divine dragon bloodline cultivator going up, the chances of success will increase greatly." Old Freak Tai snorted coldly and said, If I didn't know, why would I waste a month here? I would have gone alone long ago." Bailey Xiao said somewhat doubtfully, It has already been 1 month. Could the demonic blood thousand-winged snake have passed its weakened phase already? Don't worry. The demonic blood thousand-winged snake's weakened state lasts for 3 months. During these 3 months, it will be hard for it to bring out even half of its strength. The middle-aged Confucian scholar Murong Sheng was quite knowledgeable. That's right. There is no need to worry for 3 months, Qi Yinfeng said. Outside the courtyard, Wei Hongfei and the others discuss whether to go or not. The allure of the demonic blood thousand-winged snake was great, but the risk was equally great. If he was not careful, he might lose his life. The entire body of the demonic blood thousand-winged snake is a treasure. This is especially so for its blood. It is a great tonic for us dragon race cultivators. The other body parts were worth more than 10,000 primeval heavenly pills. No matter how you look, you can't miss it. Wei Hongfei simply stated his opinion. Clearly, he agreed to go. Situ Changfeng said softly, however, this demonic blood thousand-winged snake is an overlord-class sovereign personage ferocious beast. I estimate that it is as strong as a sovereign personage. It is hard to say whether we can kill it or not. Murong Yen said sullenly, we definitely have to gamble for fortuitous encounters. There is no guarantee. As the few discussed enthusiastically, Xiaochen suddenly asked, what is the background of this Qi Yinfeng and the ruling sword gate behind him? Wei Hongfei explained, they are not considered a major faction. In the northern region, they are just an ordinary rank 6 sect. However, they are a rather strong faction near ancient desolate town. Northern region? Xiaochen was not very familiar with the distribution of factions in the central Great Realm, so he did not understand. Wei Hongfei said in understanding, I forgot that you left the Divine Dragon Empire at a young age. Let me give you a simple rundown of the factions in the central Great Realm. In the central world, the 3 strongest dynasties occupied the central courtyard and enjoyed supreme fortune. The 8 empires are in the north, south, east, and west. The Divine Dragon Empire and the White Marsh Beast Empire are in the north. The northern region is collectively known as the Northern Region. In the northern region, aside from the Divine Dragon Empire and the White Marsh Beast Empire, 2 great empires led by great desolate Aeon bloodline cultivators, there are many empires of varying strength and many sections. Xiaochen asked curiously, aren't there 4 dynasties? Wei Hongfei explained, the Xiaowu dynasty is not in the central courtyard, so it is rather complicated. You can understand it on your own in the future. Xiaochen thought to himself, indeed I need to understand it more. In the past, I spent all my time cultivating. To think that I did not even understand the basics. Wei Hongfei continued, I did some research on this ancient desolate town in advance. The strongest faction is the Heavenly Lodging Palace's branch. The Heavenly Lodging Palace is a rank 7 sect in the northern region. In the entire central Great Realm, it can be considered a super faction. The ruling sword gate is not that strong. Not that strong. In that case, there is no problem. We can gamble on this fortuitous encounter. After learning about Qi Yunfeng's background, Xiaochen voiced his opinion. After a while, the group returned and reported the results of their discussion. Qi Yunfeng smiled and said, good. I knew that the few of you would agree. This is how we split the spoils of this mission. The 4 of you will each take 20%, then 10%. The remaining 10% will be reserved for later use. Any objections? This was the general method of distribution. Although Qi Yinfeng was not very strong, he was the one who provided the information. It was not overboard for him to take 10%. The reserved 10% would be reserved for the dead and injured as compensation. No. Good. In that case, let's depart immediately and not delay. Whoosh. Whoosh. The group soared into the air and flew into the heavens suspending war chariot. The war chariot was very spacious. There were already some ruling sword gate disciples operating it. Furthermore, with Xiao Chun and the others entering, it did not feel crowded, appearing very spacious. A complete beast skin covered the floor. It was incredibly soft and exceptionally comfortable to step on. The interior of the war chariot was extremely luxurious, very pleasing to the eye. Whoosh! Qi Yunfeng gave the order, and a flaming red tail shot out from the heavens suspending war chariot's rear. Then, it turned into a beam of light and quickly went far away. Now, you should be able to tell us the location of the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, right? Senior Tai asked indifferently. Qi Yunfeng smiled and spread out a map covered in fog on the white jade table in the middle. Zhang Xian tapped lightly on one of the spots, and the mist parted, revealing a complete three-dimensional image. It truly lives up to being a famous broker in ancient desolate town. Not just anyone can have this map, Bailey Xiu sighed. With this map, one could increase their harvest by 20% and reduce the danger by half when adventuring in Desolate God Valley. This place is already extremely close to the core of Desolate God Valley. The core of the map was a valley. That was Desolate God Valley. However, the Desolate God Valley that everyone went to was not the true Desolate God Valley. It referred to the vast region around the valley. No one would be tired of living and enter the true Desolate God Valley. Qi Yunfeng said. Everyone, don't worry. Although it looks very close, it will not come into contact with the core region. You are afraid of death, but I am even more afraid of death. Senior Tai smiled sinisterly and said, if it were not so close to the core region, this demonic blood thousand-winged snake would have been discovered long ago. This ferocious beast is so valuable that even sovereign personages would risk their lives for it. Qi Yunfeng smiled faintly and did not deny it. I'll give a simple explanation of the arrangements. Naturally, the outstanding talents of the Divine Dragon Empire will block at the front, helping us block the Great Desolate Aeon demonic might. Bailey Xiu's team will harass them from both sides. Old Tai and the Morong couple will be in charge of attacking. Qi Yunfeng must have planned this long ago. Elder Tai's cultivation and strength were the highest. The Morong couple's combined strength was not much different from his. It was suitable for the three of them to be the main attackers. If there are no objections, then before we go, let's work together to hunt some ferocious beasts and train our teamwork to ensure that nothing goes wrong. Qi Yunfeng was very good at handling matters. When he made arrangements, everything was very orderly. After a round of hunting, the team of more than 20 people gradually developed some tacit understanding of each other's strength. Half a month later, the heavens suspending war chariots hatch opened. Whoosh! Whoosh! Strong winds accompanied by blood sand blew over. Vision turned blurry, and the entire world turned into a hazy world of blood fog. Indeed, we are already close to the core region. Even the blood sand has appeared, Wei Hongfei said softly. Xiao Chen frowned slightly. The baleful blood qi in this place had already reached an extremely terrifying level. Xiao Chen's vision was no more than 10 kilometers. When he extended his spiritual sense, he found it blurry, unable to see anything. It is so blurry. How are we to find the demonic blood thousand-winged snake? Bailey Xiu frowned. He could not see the situation beyond 10 kilometers. The various auras were chaotic, and he could not use his soul energy to check. Qi Yunfeng walked to the front and formed hand seals. In the next moment, many ancient lamps flew out from under the heaven, suspending war chariot. The light was burning, and it looked like an eye. Demonic eye lamps? Xiao Chen felt slightly shocked. Unexpectedly, this Qi Yunfeng even had such a wondrous item. The demonic eye lamps were ancient wondrous items. The method to refine them had already been lost. These should be replicas. Not to mention their value, they would not be easy to obtain. Qi Yunfeng smiled and said, "This friend is really knowledgeable. With the help of these demonic eye lamps, it will not be difficult to find the demonic blood thousand-winged snake." As the demonic eye lamps entered the strong wind and blood sand, the group started to wait nervously. Bang, bang, bang. 1 hour later, a terrifying roar came from the distance, followed by a few intense explosions. The demonic eye lamps were all destroyed. However, the instant they were destroyed, they gave off intense light, extremely eye-catching amid the bloody battle. At the same time, a vast and boundless ancient demonic might surged towards the heavens suspending war chariot. Found it, Qi Yunfeng said joyfully. Then he looked at Xiao Chen and the others. Let's go. Xiao Chen's group of 5 merged their dragon might and charged over, clashing with the vast demonic might. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Bailey Xiu's team quickly followed. Eccentric Tai and the Morong couple soared into the air, flying increasingly higher. The hunt began. Chapter 1936. Bang! The heavy great desolate Aeon demonic might seem to transcend time and space, crashing towards the group with a loud sound. Xiao Chen's group of 5, whose dragon might already merged, grunted. They felt their qi and blood surge, feeling extremely unbearable. What a strong demonic might! Duan Fei said. He was the weakest of the group, so he felt the strongest. I'll take the lead then. Xiao Chen and Wei Hongfei exchanged opinions. After obtaining the other party's agreement, the two swapped places. Be careful, Wei Hongfei said. The two auras clashed. The shock waves from the clash made the strong wind even stronger. Even the heaven-suspending war chariot could not stand stably, looking like it would get knocked away at any moment. This is really damn scary. Qi Yunfeng wobbled in the war chariot for a long time before he managed to stabilize himself. Then he quickly controlled the heaven-suspending war chariot to retreat and watch from a distance. Qi Yunfeng originally wanted to observe from a close distance. However, after some contact, he gave up on this thought. After putting in so much effort, don't fail. Qi Yunfeng frowned heavily as he looked at Xiao Chen's group. Success or failure would depend on this group of people. How long these people could last would determine whether Senior Tai and the Morong couple could kill the demonic blood thousand-winged snake. Ice River Iron Horse. Senior Tai raised his aura to its peak in the sky. His holy venerate will encased his body, and a Dao disc appeared behind him. Then he formed a strange posture as he descended from the sky, looking like he was stepping on an ice river. Senior Tai's entire body was like metal, exuding an icy chill. In the blink of an eye, he looked like a skinny and cold iron horse, stepping on an ice river as he charged forward. In an instant, everyone felt that even an army of thousands and thousands of men and horses would fall apart under his charge. The sun sets in the west, sobering up. Wind and rain fall on the western pavilion. The Confucian scholar, Morong Sheng, said softly as he drew his sword. Immediately, a righteous aura surged out, scattering the blood sand for 5,000 kilometers around. Just at this instant, everyone clearly saw the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's true appearance. The demonic blood thousand-winged snake was gargantuan, coiled up like a mountain. Its head was tall and straight, and purple patterns covered its skin. It had a snake crown on its head that emitted a piercingly cold light. It flicked its tongue, and its eyes were filled with anger. The instant the scarlet sand scattered, Eccentric Tai turned into a heavenly horse and soared through the air. He moved as fast as lightning, not giving anyone time to think before crashing into the demonic blood thousand-winged snake. Boom. No one saw what exactly happened, but Eccentric Tai was bounced back like a cannonball. The demonic blood thousand-winged snake unfurled its body and slithered about frantically. It roared ferociously as its great desolate Aeon demonic might surged out. The entire world began to shake. Under the tremors of his demonic might, the world spun and space seemed to have been turned upside down. Everyone wobbled, unable to stand straight, much less attack or harass this demonic blood thousand-winged snake. A wave of fear spread from the bottom of everyone's hearts, causing their expressions to change dramatically. Formed the divine dragon four beasts formation. Xiao Chen's expression changed slightly. The might of this demonic blood thousand-winged snake was far stronger than Qi Yunfeng said. So. With the help of the armlet, the divine dragon four divisions formation instantly formed. Then Xiao Chen, Morong Yan, Wei Hongfei, and Situ Changfeng each flew in a different direction. Thunder, strong wind, fire, and light. Four kinds of mysterious phenomena mixed with dragon might spread out as dragon roars rang out. The trembling heaven and earth were immediately suppressed. What a fellow! He truly lives up to being a divine dragon cultivator. Eccentric Tai wiped off the blood at the corner of his lips and laughed loudly. Then he stopped hesitating and started preparing for the second wave of attacks. As for the Morong couple, they took advantage of this opportunity to execute their killing move, which had been delayed for a moment. A flash of sword light chopped down with great might, accompanied by wind and rain filling the sky. Kasi. Scarlet light flashed everywhere. Blood spurted out of the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's wounds, falling like rain. Pa, pa, pa. Suddenly, electric light flashed in the air. Then, Murongsheng's wife brandished her whip twice, creating crackling sparks in the air. The pretty woman's whip swung down, and it turned into a lightning snake that extended continuously, coiling around the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's body. However, just as the pretty woman was about to make a move, the demonic blood thousand-winged snake pulled ferociously. The pretty woman vomited a mouthful of blood as she went flying. Fortunately, the demonic blood thousand-winged snake managed to grab hold of the whip. That electric snake bit the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, and thousands of sparks pierced into its body. After stopping the demonic blood thousand-winged snake for a moment, the pretty woman quickly took advantage of this opportunity to let go. Then she nimbly leaped into the air, moving 10 kilometers in a flash. If she had been any later, she would have been pulled into the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's mouth, swallowed whole. The Murong couple had just finished attacking, but eccentric Tai had not finished preparing his killing move yet. Hence, an opening appeared. Bailey Xiu led his team and instantly charged over. The 9 strong holy venerates each sent out a move. The sky and clouds changed color. Sword intent, saber intent, and spear intent covered the sky and sun as they charged over. The various disturbances made the demonic blood thousand-winged snake even more berserk. It roared ferociously as a horrifying demonic might spread out. After executing the divine dragon 4 divisions formation, Xiao Chen's group of 4 felt the pressure on them increase explosively. Their veritable essence energy drained continuously, so they clenched their teeth and held on. Spring wind and rain art. The green dragon palace's Duan Fei closed his eyes and formed hand seals. The wind blew, and the rain fell. The gentle spring breeze was like a young girl's arm, gently brushing past everyone's body. Drizzle fell continuously, infusing into the bodies of Xiao Chun and the others. They immediately felt refreshed, and the pressure on them decreased significantly. Their veritable essence energy also recovered significantly. On the heavens suspending war chariot in the distance, Qi Yunfeng said anxiously, "Hold on. Just 2 more waves." After 2 more waves, this demonic blood thousand-winged snake will not be able to hold on. Mountains and rivers in dreams, 10,000 horses galloping. Eccentric Tai finally executed his killing move. Thousands of horses immediately appeared in the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of 10,000 horses galloping suppressed the dragon roars in the surroundings. Then, Eccentric Tai sent out a palm strike with the might of a vast army. Bang! When this palm strike landed on the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, many horses crashed into the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's gargantuan body. The horses continuously exploded. Bang! 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 The force of this palm strike knocked the mountain-like demonic blood thousand-winged snake into the air. The terrifying palm might was startling. A thin and frail body swings the heavy sword. Heartless and hateful, it is sad to part. Righteous Qi gathered again, and the sword in Murongsheng's hand became incredibly heavy. Compared to the heavy sword, Murongsheng's body looked skinny and bony, like a hungry ghost. Only his pair of bright eyes displayed the state of the poem. The heavy sword landed with a sigh, knocking the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, which had yet to land, into the ground. Pa! The demonic blood thousand-winged snake swung around and soared into the air, knocking Murongsheng, who could not withdraw his sword in time, into the air. Elder brother Sheng. The pretty woman could not be bothered with attacking. She swung her whip and pulled Murongsheng back. The demonic blood thousand-winged snake missed, narrowly avoiding death. Bang! 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 Bailey Xiu led his team of holy venerates and took advantage of the situation to appear, continuously launching all sorts of killing moves. The mysterious phenomena in the air layered over each other, looking incredibly chaotic. That was close. Murongsheng landed beside the pretty woman and wiped the sweat off his forehead. However, his back broke out in a cold sweat. However, that earlier sword strike contained a lot of soul energy. Not only did it injure the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's physical body, but it also severely injured its soul. Just 1 more wave. Qi Yunfeng anxiously sweated profusely. He turned his head and saw that his junior brothers in the war chariot were so frightened that their legs went soft, unable to stand up. Qi Yunfeng cursed. Quickly stand up for this old man, and drive the war chariot over. Quick! 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 Boom! 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 Just at this moment, the demonic blood thousand-winged snake became utterly enraged. A horrifying great desolate Aeon demonic might surged out like surging waves, each wave taller than the one before. Several of Bailey Xiu's team, who took advantage of the situation to harass the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, could not dodge in time. The snake tail swept them away, causing them to vomit blood. Something's not right. Eccentric Tai was just about to make a move when he felt that something was wrong, so he stopped. The purple patterns on the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's back silently unfurled, turning into pairs of purple wings. Damn it! Wasn't it in a weakened state? How can it spread its wings? Boom! Such a strange change completely surpassed everyone's expectations. When the thousand wings spread out, the divine dragon four divisions formation that Xiao Chun and the others formed instantly shattered. No one could suppress the raging demonic blood thousand-winged snake anymore. It vented its rage to its heart's content, attacking indiscriminately, sweeping through the surroundings. Bang! 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 The ground split open, and strong winds and bloody auras gathered once more. The terrain within 5,000 kilometers was completely destroyed. Several mountains broke into thousands of pieces, rising and falling with the great desolate Aeon demonic might. However, they could not fall. After that, the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's rage crushed them into dust, turning them into blood sand. The world turned incredibly chaotic, scarlet everywhere. Aside from the raging demonic blood thousand-winged snake, no one else could be seen. Lu Ruyan lay prone on a rock in a somewhat flustered manner. Her heart pounded heavily, but there was no one beside her. Blood leaked out of a corner of Lu Ruyan's lips, and her complexion paled. The instant the divine dragon four divisions formation broke, the solid demonic might struck her. If she had not been carrying a valuable treasure, the consequences would have been dire. Lu Ruyun did not know when the demonic blood thousand-winged snake would discover her. As she faced the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, which was displaying its ferocious might, her thoughts ran wild. Fear made her tremble all over. Whoosh! Lu Ruyun silently felt a figure land beside her. She turned around to look, and she nearly cried out in pleasant surprise. It was Xiao Chun. This startled Xiao Chun. He quickly covered her mouth and gestured for her to be quiet. Lu Ruyan rolled her eyes to indicate that she understood. Only then did Xiao Chun let go. Where are the others? Are they all dead? A voice projection rang out in Lu Ruyun's mind. She had learned her lesson and no longer dared to make a sound. She asked somewhat anxiously. The instant the divine dragon four divisions formation broke, she had seen some people dismembered on the spot. Then the demonic blood thousand-winged snake swallowed them up, not even leaving a scrap behind. They are all hiding. They are a group of smart people. How could they die so easily? Xiao Chun replied. At the same time, he stared at the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, not daring to relax for even a moment. Lu Ruyun felt slightly more at ease. She discovered that Xiao Chun's dragon might contained an indescribable aura. After it covered her body, the pressure from the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's demonic might decrease significantly. Scarlet sand filled the air. Aside from the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, which was displaying its ferocious might, there was only the sound of wind and sand for 5,000 kilometers around. There was no aura of the living at all. No one could imagine that just a moment ago, there were many people making a move against the demonic blood thousand-winged snake. Chapter 1937. Bang! A loud sound rang out amid the blood sand filling the air. The demonic blood thousand-winged snake had destroyed Qi Yunfeng's precious war chariot. Xiao Chun did not know if Qi Yunfeng was still in there. If he was, he probably would not have escaped death. Even if he managed to survive, he would probably feel heartache. A one-star heaven suspending war chariot was already worth more than 100,000 primeval heavenly pills. Furthermore, it was hard to buy. Now that it was destroyed, It truly hurt. Morongyan lay on a boulder, which rose and fell amid the blood sand filling the air. Did they all run away? Morongyan sneaked a look around, but his vision was blurry. When he did his best to look, he could not see anyone. This seems like an opportunity. A brilliant light flashed in Morongyan's eyes as he revealed a smile. This demonic blood thousand-winged snake looked like it was showing off its ferocious might, but in reality, it was aggravating his injuries. If everyone had already fled, then he might be able to obtain all the value of this demonic blood thousand-winged snake. Morongyan chewed on the rank 3 heavenly pill that Lu Ruyun gave him, and his injuries healed quickly. Those people cannot block this great desolate Ian demonic might. I have a divine dragon bloodline, and actually hold a significant advantage. The martial techniques of the red dragon race can be said to be the most ferocious of the 6-colored divine dragons. I can take a gamble. The battle flame in Morongyan's eyes blazed increasingly fiercely as he stared at the demonic blood thousand-winged snake. Whoosh! 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 Morongyan carefully leaped around the boulders, seeking a suitable opportunity for himself. I have to wait patiently. Despite his blazing battle hunger, Morongyan still cautiously advised himself. Finally, the opportunity arrived. The demonic blood thousand-winged snake landed at an extremely suitable spot for Morongyan to attack. Its already irrepressible battle hunger erupted like a volcano. Blood-devouring dragon fist, boundless madness. Morongyan roared ferociously, and a surging aura burst out of his body. A heat wave soared into the clouds, looking like a resplendent meteor. A berserk aura surged out, sweeping away everything in its path. Everything within 10 kilometers turned to dust. Just the berserk aura alone could already reach such a level of might. This showed how ferocious this fist technique was. Morongyan laughed loudly, and a dragon roared. A fiery light spread out as his fist light landed on the demonic blood thousand-winged snake. Oh no! In the distance, Xiaochun, who was using the dragon might containing the heaven dragon's mysteries to protect Lu Ruyun, slapped his forehead. He could not bear to watch the scene before him. Morongyan fought an intense battle with the demonic blood thousand-winged snake alone, displaying the fiery ferocity of the red dragon race. There was a smile on his face, and his mind surged with excitement. He fought to his heart's content. Soon, Morongyan was somewhat shocked to discover that although the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's aura was weakening, it was not weak at all. As the saying goes, a centipede dies but does not fall down, let alone an overlord-level humanoid king ferocious beast. In merely 10-odd moves, Morongyan found himself in a perilous situation, on the verge of revealing his great desolate Ian bloodline at any moment. Wait for me, don't move. Xiaochun warned. You might become our trump card and reverse the situation at any time. When Lu Ruyun heard that, she nodded and said, Don't worry. I understand. Xiao. Before Lu Ruyun could finish speaking, she saw Xiaochun turn into a flash of electric light and charge over. In an instant he arrived above the demonic blood thousand-winged snake. Xiaochun did not hesitate to land his killing move. Firmament's Rage. The rage of a great desolate Ian ancestor dragon transcended time and space, coming from the past to the present. Its rage filled the sky. When one looked up, it looked like the rage of the firmament unquenchable. A colossal flaming palm tore through the sky. Xiaochun showed a stern expression, and 2 Dao discs of the lightning Dao and the saber Dao appeared behind him. The saber Dao and the thunder Dao infused into the colossal palm. Immediately, Xiaochun's 5 fingers became like sabers, flickering with electricity. When he smashed the palm down, he smashed the demonic blood thousand-winged snake down from the sky. Electric light exploded, and the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's entire body trembled. Xiaochun's 5 fingers were like sabers, leaving 5 huge holes in the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's body. Blood spurted out like a fountain. Xiaochun. When Morongyan saw Xiaochun appear, he rejoiced at first. Then he said, Quickly, let's go. This demonic blood thousand-winged snake is harder to deal with than we imagined. We cannot kill it. It's too late. Xiaochun sighed softly. What do you mean? Morongyan still did not understand. Closely after that, many figures appeared. Situ Changfeng, Wei Hongfei, and Duan Fei appeared one after another. Damn. Why are you all here? Weren't you all scared off? Murong Yin exclaimed in shock. Xiao Chen said helplessly. You are overthinking things. It is not just them. Eccentric Tai, the Murong couple, Bailey Xiao, and the others should be here as well. They were just waiting to see if there were any fools who could not resist making a move. Then they would reap the benefits. Unexpectedly, they succeeded in their gamble. Murong Yen could not help raging. Damn. These fellows are using me as a tool. Xiao Chen, what should we do now? Wei Hongfei asked as he looked at Xiao Chen. At some point in time, Xiao Chen had already become the core of the team. All the decisions had to be made by him. I can't be bothered. In for a penny, in for a pound. After we kill this reptile, we will take 80% of the profits. Decisiveness flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. He said coldly, if they want to watch a show, then let them watch to their heart's content. The breathing of the others turned somewhat ragged. They had not expected Xiao Chen to be so decisive, going all out against them. Good. Everyone was influenced by Xiao Chen. They did not hesitate to speak seriously. The group attacked together, not holding anything back as they fought an intense battle with the demonic blood-thousand-winged snake. In the darkness, eccentric Tai hid behind a rock and smiled coldly. A bunch of fools. Did they really think that they scared us away? The Murong couple also revealed smiles, happy to see this happen. After Bailey Xiao smiled coldly, he heaved a sigh of relief. His team had suffered the most casualties. Of the 9, only 5 remained. Originally, Bailey Xiao worried that his team's strength would drop, and that he would not have the right to speak. Upon seeing this scene, Bailey Xiao could not help feeling overjoyed. Whoosh! As Bailey Xiao thought, a figure landed between them. This startled him. Qi Yinfeng. Qi Yinfeng was significantly injured. He smiled embarrassedly and said, Brother Bailey, do you mind if I rest here for a while? The heaven-suspending war chariot had been destroyed, and Qi Yinfeng had managed to escape. However, he had lost his greatest support, so he came to Bailey Xiao's place to form a temporary alliance. Bailey Xiao understood. He smiled and said, You are very welcome. Bailey Xiao happened to lack manpower. How could he reject? A centipede might die, but it would not fall over. However, this demonic blood-thousand-winged snake was too severely injured. Xiao Chen's group of 5 did not give each other any warning. They attacked with their full power, working together and stabilizing the situation. They trapped the demonic blood-thousand-winged snake, not giving it a chance to counterattack or flee. The group used the dragon race's martial techniques. Strong winds, lightning, fire, and sunlight formed the Divine Dragon 4 Divisions formation. Xiao Chen and the others decided to end the battle quickly. Supreme Dragon Fist, Master of the World. When Xiao Chen saw that the demonic blood-thousand-winged snake was about to launch a desperate counterattack, he snorted coldly. Xiao Chen circulated his energy for the Supreme Dragon Fist and punched. A blazing dragon might materialized a banner filled with killing intent burning in flames. The instant the banner appeared, the killing intent in the air soared. The heaven dragon's might on Xiao Chen's body soared, bursting out with the arrogance of a sovereign looking down on the world. You want to counterattack? No way. Get down. Boom. This supreme dragon banner with surging killing chi descended from the sky. It carried an incomparably tyrannical air, carrying the might of the heavens. It turned into a beam of light and instantly stabbed into the demonic blood-thousand-winged snake's neck. Rumble. The ground shook continuously. Xiao Chen's supreme dragon banner pinned the demonic blood-thousand-winged snake, which wanted to launch a powerful killing move, to the ground. The demonic blood-thousand-winged snake roared endlessly, struggling endlessly. The supreme dragon banner shook, on the verge of breaking. Red Dragon's profoundness, inextinguishable rage. Murong Yen roared, and his entire body radiated the pure Red Dragon's dragon might. His figure flashed, and he landed on the top of the flagpole. Golden Dragon profundity, inextinguishable light. Wei Hongfei snorted coldly. His body spun around continuously, releasing a golden light made of golden dragon chi that shone in the surroundings. Yen supported the sky with one hand and placed it above his head. Then, Wei Hongfei landed firmly on his hand. Boom! The might of the Supreme Dragon banner increased. The demonic blood thousand-winged snake roared in pain, and its aura plummeted. Green dragon's profoundness, spring wind and rain. Blue dragon profoundness, wind conquers the world. As Situ Changfeng and Duan Fei joined in, using their own strength to support the Supreme Dragon banner, the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's aura continuously weakened. Heaven dragon profundity, heart higher than the heavens. Xiao Chun descended from the sky, and his dragon might merged with the heaven dragon's mysteries. Then he landed firmly on Situ Changfeng's palm. Bang! The final strike caused the might of the Supreme Dragon banner to soar explosively, and the snake's head separated from its body. The demonic blood thousand-winged snake's mountain-sized head directly blasted away. The Supreme Dragon Fist, which contained fist force, turned into thousands of strands of dragon chi spreading out. The few people, who were like pillars supporting the sky, quickly scattered, revealing smiles on their faces. Clap, clap, clap. The outstanding talents of the Empire are truly incredible. This is a great eye-opener. This old man is in awe. Eccentric Tai clapped his hands and appeared with a superficial smile. His eyes gleamed as he looked at the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's corpse on the ground. Indeed, I did not choose the wrong people. Hee. However, you can all withdraw now. It is time for us to decide how to split this demonic blood thousand-winged snake. Murong Sheng and his wife, Bailey Xiao, and the others appeared one after another. They all felt that they had the upper hand, so they directly told Xiao Chun and the others to scatter. Eccentric Tai frowned slightly and said in a cold voice, "Why are you still not scramming? Do you think you can split the war spoils? I don't have much patience." Xiao Chun and the others exchanged glances. After a while, they suddenly guffawed. This baffled Bailey Xiao and the others, making them feel somewhat depressed. Xiao Chun shouted, "How do we deal with those who offend our empire's dragon might? Kill without mercy. Fight to the death." Murong Yen and the others answered loudly. Before Xiao Chun finished speaking, the five activated their great desolate Aeon bloodlines at the same time. In that instant, an ancient dragon might from the great desolate Aeon surged out. The five all had divine dragon bloodlines. The moment they activated their bloodlines, the ancient bloodline power in their bodies surged out uncontrollably like a flood that broke the dam. In the dusky sky, there was only the roar of the dragon, deep and furious. Run! Bailey Xiao and the others were so frightened that they nearly cried. They simply did not expect Xiao Chun's five to be so decisive. The five did not give them a chance to negotiate, not compromising at all. At the same time, they activated their great desolate Aeon bloodlines. The first to bear the brunt was Eccentric Tai, who stood at the very front. The five struck Eccentric Tai at the same time. In less than a second, the berserk divine dragon veritable essence energy blasted his body apart, leaving no corpse behind. Chapter 1938. Eccentric Tai's death was truly unjust. It was not that he did not expect this. No matter how weak the five were, they still had their divine dragon bloodlines that had not been activated. However, once the divine dragon bloodline was activated, the group's originally weak bodies would become even weaker after the process ended. At that time, not to mention a star venerate, even a major primal core venerate would be able to end them. Under such circumstances, Xiao Chun and the others would definitely compromise. Who would have thought that Xiao Chun and the others would not even bother saying a word? They had already thought of how these people would deal with the situation. At the same time, they activated their great desolate Aeon bloodlines. Caught off guard, they could not even retaliate. They were blasted into dregs. The five's auras flourished as they chased relentlessly. Before Bailey Xiao's team got far, they were all destroyed. Qi Yunfeng was right. When the five activated their great desolate Aeon bloodlines, even a sovereign personage would have to run. Furthermore, they were far from a sovereign personage. How could they run? Bang! 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 Murong Sheng and his wife were prepared. They endured their severe injuries and ran far away. However, Xiao Chun did not want to let them go. A red light flashed on his ring, and the demon blood vulture screeched as it gave chase. In mere moments, only Qi Yunfeng remained of the group of people that came with a ferocious aura, fleeing wildly. Qi Yunfeng paled in fright. Cold sweat poured down his face as the fear of death shrouded his heart. A horrifying great desolate Aeon dragon might spread out in the world, preventing him from bringing out even 50% of his strength. Flying Cloud Talisman. The deaths of the others bought Qi Yunfeng some time to bring out his trump card. A talisman appeared. After activating it, Qi Yunfeng stood on a flying cloud, and his speed more than tripled. It looked like Xiao Chun and the others would not be able to catch up. A wind blew, and willow leaves fluttered. A saber light chased after the sun and clouds, piercing Qi Yunfeng's chest. Qi Yunfeng fell like a broken kite. Who knew? He held his breath and endured the intense pain, continuing to flee. Lu Ruyin stretched out her hand and grabbed her saber. She frowned slightly. Clearly, she had not expected Qi Yunfeng to have the strength to continue fleeing. Qi Yunfeng's armor should have blocked much of the saber's might. Otherwise, he would not have ended up like this. Don't give chase. Seeing that Zhang Xian still wanted to pursue the matter, Xiao Chun spoke up. Qi Yunfeng was not a simple person. Xiao Chun did not know what other trump cards he had. If he ran, so be it. Xiao Chun, who knew his background, did not take him too seriously. As soon as they finished speaking, their auras weakened rapidly, falling to the bottom of the valley. However, all of them had smiles on their faces. They all felt incomparably delighted. Back then they had been worried. If this group of people waited for them to finish killing the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, and kill the donkey after it was no longer of use, how would they deal with them? Xiao Chun didn't think too much about it. He had already planned this move, activating his bloodline and striking like lightning. Since they had already fallen out, there was no need to show mercy. Ha ha ha, it's been a long time since I've had such a good time. These bastards are all hiding and not coming out. They actually dare to use me as a tool. Murong Yen vented his frustrations and felt incredibly delighted. Suddenly he turned his head and said, Xiao Chun, thank you. Xiao Chun and Situ Changfeng exchanged glances, thinking that they heard wrong. This Murong Yen was famous for being heartless. Xiao Chun and Situ Changfeng had saved him many times, but he had never said a word of thanks. This was the first time the two heard it, and they found it strange. The others also looked at Murong Yen strangely. Murong Yen asked anxiously, What's wrong with me? Did I say something wrong? Wei Hongfei scolded. Brat, you are used to being heartless. You finally said something nice. Xiao Chun, how should we deal with this demonic blood thousand-winged snake? Xiao Chun entered deep thought. Just its head was the size of a small mountain. As for its body, it was even more colossal. It was indeed somewhat difficult to deal with. If they dealt with it all, they would probably waste a lot of time. Just take the important ones. As for how to split them, we can talk about it when we return. We can just take away the essence of the great desolate Aeon demonic blood. However, we have to take away all 1,000 pairs of purple patterned wings. They are all peak materials for refining, worth at least 1 million primeval heavenly pills. We also have to take away the snake crown. However, be careful of the poison. Pull out the venomous fangs. Xiao Chun sized up the demonic blood thousand-winged snake as he gave instructions seriously. Even though it was much simpler, this was still a huge project. However, the group worked very hard, feeling very excited. Originally, they could only get 20% of the demonic blood thousand-winged snake. Now they got more than 80%. The rest were just scraps that they did not need. As for the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's most valuable beast core, Xiao Chun personally went to retrieve it. The beast core was covered in purple cloud patterns and gave off a strong aura, flickering with a faint light. This was the beast core of an overlord-class sovereign personage ferocious beast. Its value already surpassed Xiao Chun's estimation. He needed to find a good appraiser to give it a reasonable valuation. Otherwise, if he sold it off carelessly, he would suffer a huge loss. Xiao Chun, we already removed all the purple patterned wings. We have more or less collected the great desolate Aeon demonic blood essence. We obtained the venomous fangs. Hehe. There are a total of 9 of them. Even without refining them, they are bone weapons equal to Dao tools. We already took out the snake crown. It was really difficult to deal with. The venom nearly spilled on me. The people who obtained the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's parts came to report to Xiao Chen one after another. They did not say anything, directly handing them to him for safekeeping. This was a form of trust. The decisiveness and level-headedness that Xiao Chen showed in the past few dangerous situations convinced the others. Xiao Chen, come and take a look. What is this? Wei Hongfei called out to Xiao Chen as he stood on the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's head. Whoosh! With a thought, Xiao Chen's figure flashed and he landed beside Wei Hongfei. Then, he looked in the direction Wei Hongfei pointed. That is, Xiao Chen saw many terrifying black lightning bolts in the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's head. This is tribulation lightning. Xiao Chen exclaimed with some shock. What tribulation is this demonic blood thousand-winged snake undergoing? To think that this tribulation lightning even makes me feel some fear. Wei Hongfei thought to himself, we got lucky. It turned out that the demonic blood thousand-winged snake that we were fighting was refining the tribulation lightning at the same time. Its lightning tribulation probably sent down an extremely special tribulation lightning, wanting to subdue and refine it for its own use. We got lucky this time. If it did not refine this tribulation lightning, the consequences would be unimaginable. Wei Hongfei explained his analysis. Xiao Chen nodded in agreement. This tribulation lightning piqued his interest. Among us, you are the only one who cultivates the Thunder Great Tao. You should subdue it, Wei Hongfei said when he saw through Xiao Chen's thoughts. Xiao Chen did not reject. I'll give it a try. After saying that, Xiao Chen directly entered the head and used his saber intent to carve out a path for himself. Then he followed the source of the tribulation lightning. Pa, pa, pa. The lightning in the head occasionally struck Xiao Chen's body, causing him some pain. This made him even more interested. Found it. Traveling through the head was not easy. Xiao Chen spent a lot of effort before arriving at the source of the tribulation lightning. A sword? Xiao Chen revealed a strange expression. To think that the demonic blood thousand-winged snake had already refined the source of the tribulation lightning into a crude sword embryo. Ancient words formed naturally in the world were carved on the embryo. They flickered with golden light and contained the supreme principles, swimming around like tadpoles. It is actually a strand of grand unity profound lightning. There were records in the incomplete memories of the faux god flame that Xiao Chen inherited. The tribulation lightning that contained the supreme principles of the world was called grand unity profound lightning. It was extremely rare. It was the Tao naturally materialized by the heavenly Tao, produced when it mixed with the lightning. It could only be found and not sought. It was very difficult to obtain. No wonder this demonic blood thousand-winged snake wanted to refine it into a weapon. Once it succeeded, it would be a grand unity profound weapon. Its might would be unimaginably great. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. Without thinking too much, he erased the remnant thoughts and spiritual mark on the sword embryo. Then he placed his spiritual mark on it and stored it in his palm. However, this was just a primitive sword embryo. He did not know how much time it would take to form. Of course, if he did not want to refine it into a grand unity profound weapon, he could directly absorb it. Xiao Chen's divine lightning eye was sufficient to digest this grand unity profound lightning. Xiao Chen could accept both choices. It all depended on which one he chose. After leaving the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's head, they discovered that most of the valuable parts of the demonic blood thousand-winged snake had already been harvested. When Murong Yen and the others gathered, they handed the other parts they collected to Xiao Chen for safekeeping. The huge body that remained was actually very valuable as well. However, it was too large. The group's storage rings could not contain it. Gee. The demon blood vulture that chased after the Murong couple returned amid strange cries, perfectly completing its mission. Let's search the surroundings. There are usually 10,000-year-old spirit herbs around overlord-class ferocious beasts. Perhaps there might be an unexpected harvest. Xiao Chen said softly as he looked around. I nearly forgot about this. We do have to search properly, Wei Hongfei said with a smile. If they found it, it would be a huge pleasant surprise. Chapter 1939. As the others searched for unknown natural treasures, a voice rang out in Xiao Chen's mind. The demon blood vulture sent him a voice projection. Ran away. When Xiao Chen saw the demon blood vulture returning with a baleful aura, he thought that it had perfectly completed its mission. Unexpectedly, it still let the two go. So be it. Xiao Chen was not a bloodthirsty person. He would teach the other party a lesson. In the future, the other party would know who he should not offend. After casually consoling him, Xiao Chen did not take this matter to heart and joined the search. In the distance, a flickering heaven-suspending war chariot flew over the fleeing Qi Yunfeng. Qi Yunfeng raised his head to take a look. The war chariot flew too fast, so he could not see it clearly. He only saw the insignia of the heavenly lodging palace on the war chariot. It was the heaven-suspending war chariot of the heavenly lodging palace. Furthermore, it was a 2-star one. A 1-star heaven-suspending war chariot could not compare to a 2-star heaven-suspending war chariot. With this war chariot, Xiao Chen would not even need to fear a sovereign personage. Qi Yunfeng's chest was still bleeding. The incredibly weak Qi Yunfeng did not even know if he could walk out of this desolate god valley. How could he think about anything else? Retracting his gaze, he continued walking forward. Oh, isn't this the ruling sword gate's Qi Yunfeng? The heaven-suspending war chariot that just flew over returned. The hatch opened, and a youth in blue embroidered clothes walked out. He mocked. Why are you in such a sorry state? Where is your 1-star heaven-suspending war chariot? Drive it out and compete with my 2-star heaven-suspending war chariot. Qi Yunfeng felt slightly stunned. He had not expected the war chariot to return. The blood sand was hazy, and Qi Yunfeng's strength had dropped, so he could not clearly see that person's appearance. After a long time, Xiao Chen discovered that it was Hua Qingyun, the Heavenly Lodging Palace branch's young sect master in ancient desolate town. Xiao Chen's grandfather was an existence that surpassed sovereign personages in the Heavenly Lodging Palace. He was very strong and could be considered a wealthy young master of the sect. Furthermore, he managed some authority in the Heavenly Lodging Palace's branch. In ancient desolate town, Xiao Chen was someone who could do whatever he wanted. Qi Yunfeng had met Xiao Chen once before, so he knew that the other party was mocking him. He smiled bitterly and said, "Young Master Hua must be joking. How can my broken war chariot compare to young Master Hua's? Furthermore, the demonic blood thousand-winged snake already destroyed my war chariot." What? A demonic blood thousand-winged snake? Hua Qingyun's expression changed drastically. He shouted, "Speak. Where is the demonic blood thousand-winged snake? Men, invite him up here." Qi Yunfeng had purposely said this to attract this person's attention. After he went up, he told the story of his encounter, adding details to the story. He sighed softly. After all, they are disciples of the Divine Dragon Empire's Dragon's Gate. We just killed the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, and they immediately fell out with us. Our ruling sword gate cannot afford to offend them. Right now, a group of people is probably harvesting the demonic blood thousand-winged snake's corpse. Hua Qingyun sneered and said, "How dare you? I'll help you vent your anger. This is not their Divine Dragon Empire's territory. To think that they dare to be so arrogant in ancient desolate town. Many thanks, young Master Hua. However, they are disciples of the Dragon's Gate, after all. If I suffer some grievances, I will just endure it. Young Master Hua, there is no need to make a big fuss and offend the people of the Dragon's Gate." Hua Qingyun laughed loudly and said, "If they were inner sect disciples, I would give them some face. However, they are just a group of outer palace disciples. How dare they bully the people of our ancient desolate town? No way." Qi Yunfeng smiled coldly in his heart. Seeing that he managed to incite conflict with Hua Qingyun with just a few words, he could not help feeling cocky. "Why are you still sitting there? What are you doing?" Feeling confused, Qi Yunfeng asked. "Young Master Hua, what do you mean?" Scram. "I already said that I would stand up for you. Do you still want to go with me?" Bang. Right after Hua Qingyun spoke, he kicked Qi Yunfeng off the heaven-suspending war chariot. When Hua Qingyun saw Qi Yunfeng land and roll a few times on the ground, he could not help laughing loudly. Qi Yunfeng lay on the ground in so much pain that tears flowed out. He cried out in grief. Today was really the worst day of his life. Young master, good kick. This fellow is full of bad intentions. He might even be feeling cocky about successfully sowing discord between young master and those Dragon's Gate disciples. A gray-clad old man came over and fawned over Hua Qingyun. Hua Qingyun mocked. Others might not know what kind of person he is, but do you think I do not know? He is just a broker. He has done several shady things. I thought that no one knew. The gray-clad old man asked, Young master, what are your plans? A bright light flashed in Hua Qingyun's eyes as he said, The ninth elder of the main palace hall seems to have reached a bottleneck in his poison cultivation technique. I can give him a demonic blood thousand-wing snake spirit core. The gray-clad old man said. However, Elder Su and the others said that they made a big discovery in Desolate God Valley, and needed this 2-star heaven-suspending war chariot to hold the fort. What's the rush? It is just a group of Dragon's Gate cultivators who activated their great Desolate Aeon bloodlines. Dealing with them will not take much time. Hua Qingyun's tone brimmed with pride, not caring about Xiao Chen's group at all. 2-star heaven-suspending war chariot. Accelerate at full speed. Xiao Chen and the others who were searching for natural treasures did not know that a huge problem was quickly heading their way. Found it. Lu Ruyin cheered, drawing everyone's attention. They saw a scarlet, glistening 7-petal flower under the rubble of a mountain range. A fruit that looked like a ghost face grew in the middle of the petals, looking exceptionally sinister. A demonic blood ghost face flower. Wei Hongfei exclaimed. We really struck it rich this time. Xiao Chen went over to take a look. Then he said, It is more than 10,000 years old. As for how old it is, we will need a professional alchemist to determine it. Lu Ruyin frowned and said, This ghost face looks really scary. This fruit is actually the essence. However, we cannot consume it. Demonic Dao cultivators can use it and exchange it for resources in the black market. Let's keep these 7 demonic blood leaves and consume them when we reach the sovereign personage realm. They will be able to bring out their greatest effects and strengthen our soul energy. Situ Changfeng understood the demonic blood ghost face flower very well. The group carefully picked it off and handed it to Xiao Chen for safekeeping. Boom. Suddenly, a piercing whistle came from the distance. Lu Ruyin found the voice familiar. She exclaimed in shock. It's a 2-star heaven-suspending war chariot. A 2-star heaven-suspending war chariot was several times faster than a 1-star heaven-suspending war chariot. By the time the group discovered it, they could no longer flee. Bang! The war chariot landed in front of the group and crashed heavily into the ground, creating a huge shock wave that surged out. The expressions of Wei Hongfei and the others changed slightly. Right now, they had not recovered much of their strength. Calm down. Xiao Chen's expression did not change as he released the demon blood vulture. The demon blood vulture understood Xiao Chen's meaning. It let out a loud cry, and its demonic nature erupted, turning its entire body scarlet. A strong scarlet wind blew back the shockwave, nearly sending the 2-star heaven-suspending war chariot flying. Hua Qingyun cursed in the war chariot. When he saw that it was the demon blood vulture, his eyes lit up. He said, There are so many good things. The few of you, go out and say that this young master is interested in this demon blood vulture. Get them to hand over the demon blood vulture and the demonic blood thousand-wing snake's beast core, and they can leave. Young master is really benevolent. You only want the beast core and the demon blood vulture. You are giving them too much face. Hua Qingyun smiled and said, Stop sucking up. Quickly go out. There's no need. Just at this moment, a cold snort rang out. Hua Qingyun demanded, Who is it? Bang. Hua Qingyun's reply was a heavy punch from Xiao Chen. 50 cauldron force flew out together with a dragon roar. The 2-star heaven-suspending war chariots hatch directly shattered. Then, it flew into the war chariot with the remaining force. The broken hatch whizzed over, kicking up a boundless strong wind that scattered the decorations in the war chariot, turning it into a mess. You are seeking death. Hua Qingyun raged. He stretched out his hand and caught the hatch. However, Hua Qingyan had somewhat underestimated the strength of the hatch. Blood leaked out of a corner of his lips as he got knocked back. Xiaoqun blocked the entrance alone and gave it a cursory glance. There were 10 odd people in the war chariot. Aside from the cultivators controlling the war chariot, there were 10 other holy venerates. This was a rather strong team, especially that gray-clad old man. He was no weaker than eccentric Tai. A vital chi cultivator. The gray-clad old man frowned and asked, "Friend, where are you from?" Xiaoqun retorted indifferently, "Can't you make out the dragon race aura on me?" The gray-clad old man immediately felt goosebumps in his heart. He had kicked a metal plate this time. As he looked at the calm and relaxed Xiaoqun, he found him somewhat unfathomable. He stretched out his hand to stop the enraged Hua Qingyan behind him. "So it is a dragon race disciple. I wonder what kind of misunderstanding there is. We are just passing by." Xiaoqun retorted coldly, "Stop pretending. It's not like I did not hear what you said in there." Honestly speaking, Xiaoqun had many reservations about his current strength in the sect, preventing him from bringing it out. However, once he left the sect, he had many trump cards. Unless a sovereign personage arrived, he would not fear anyone. As long as Xiaoqun did not bully others, it would be fine. Those who dared to target him were simply reckless. "Old Yang, why are you afraid of him? Attack together and take down this mixed blood dragon." Hua Qingyan snorted coldly. Then he led the cultivators in the war chariot to charge at Xiaoqun, ignoring the gray-clad old man's obstruction. "You overestimate yourself," Xiaoqun said indifferently. Then, 2 Dao discs appeared behind him, and his great perfection Dao might layered over each other. Then he infused the mysteries of the heaven dragon into his dragon might. His aura immediately soared as he charged at Hua Qingyan's group of 10. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.